some weight, get a job on base.
Oh, you won $100.
I'm trying to study
I
for
was
my.
about to say, I was like, what the
I'm
hell?
trying to study for my Security Plus certification, and I've tried reading that shit when I'm high as fuck, and it's not happening.
Yeah, I'm going to Security Plus too.
I go to school drunk. Welding shit.
Alright.
Deep. I'm doing Security Plus also.
Are you? I started watching Professor Messer videos, and I'm just trying to get like a good base because I don't know shit about cybersecurity. So, trying to like understand all the lingo first before I read that book. Cause I opened that book up one time, and like first page I didn't understand anything at all.
I'm leaving learning.
Is that all like the coding and all that shit too?
You have a free. You have
Oh, fuck no.
1 month free.
Oh really?
So you can knock it all out in 1 month.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
LinkedIn learning. Yeah. The base pays it for me. So
Yeah.
I just.
Yeah, because Kyle said, my buddy Kyle says if I get that, he'll
Oh, good.
Boost everything. Yeah, you'd be like, hey.
It opens up so many doors. You're just like, hey, I have in your resume.
Mic check.
Look at anything else.
They see that thing, they're like,
they
okay,
see that
yeah.
thing, they're like, oh, hey, come with me, yeah, you want to come with me,
Is
yeah.
that, does Kyle have it?
because the problem is if people don't have it, then they gotta like they have to worry. Okay, are we gonna bring you on and you not be able to pass it?
Yeah.
So if I already pass it, it's like, oh, we don't gotta worry about that.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's working.
Now it's working.
This one's working.
All right, so what's going on?
What about this one? This one's working?
It is.
Check. Good?
All right, so how far does it go? There you go.
Yeah.
Down below, oh.
Yeah, I just got it. Am I going? No, it is. It's like look how big that is.
No, but it's not going in there. Look at this.
Yeah, look.
Okay, so you're like that.
Yeah.
I got you.
Or what?
I'll tighten it up.
Yeah.
It's tight. Oh, there you go.
All right, we're good.
Good?
Yeah.
There you go. That's even better.
Bro, what if I was just talking in the wrong side of this shit the whole time?
Oh, man, that'd be fun.
I don't know which sides. I think it's this way. Mic check.
Hey, she's
Check.
she's kind of hot, huh?
Mic check.
He's like, hey,
Check. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. 1. Holla. Excuse me. It's that bird. That bird got me. Damn, we look sexy on video, bro.
Screenshot it and post it, bro.
Oh my god.
Good?
Are we good? Or what? Can you hear me?
I think so.
He's not.
Hold on.
Did Pip leave?
Babe, you should like
I think
just.
I lost. We had 2 viewers. I lost them both. But like, fuck this shit.
Wait, I'm one of the viewers.
Oh, shit.
So we lost him.
You want 3? I can jump on.
Yeah, let's just get a lot. Because then, wouldn't it like the most viewers, they start going
Well,
up?
so before I can get sponsored, we have to get a certain amount of viewers, and we have to go
To do
live a
that,
certain amount of times.
What's this?
That's the loading screen. Turn the dial on that up to like 3/4.
Check. 1, 2, 3. Check.
Mic check.
It sounds like,
You can hear him.
yeah.
Check. 1, 2, 3. Check. Oh wow.
Mic check.
Yeah, well, this would
Mic
be
check.
really good for both of us.
For sure.
Definitely.
That was loud.
Yeah, that was hella loud.
Okay, I hear you guys good. We're good.
We're good? All right.
Turn that down, or else we'll just they'll hear it on the loop.
Yeah. I got you.
Oh, I lost it. Okay, so we're gonna go rewind again. We're talking about the Houston Astros getting. Oh, let's go live.
Are we on the Joe Kelly story with?
Well, no. So the Houston Astros 0-game suspension for any of those players. But back in 1919, the Chicago White Sox were involved in a scandal that left them and their legacy tarnished as the Chicago Black Sox. And the movie 8 Men Out, is definitely portrayed from the viewpoint of the players. They were unsatisfied with the pay they were making, which a lot of those guys at that time, the Babe Ruth was one of the few baseball players that was able to live off just being a baseball player. These other guys were baseball players, and then when baseball was done, they had other jobs, carpenters, roofers, whatever, heavy labor. So, not everyone had the advantage that Babe Ruth had, which was play baseball and get fat.
Yeah.
Nice.
So the Chicago White Sox were very unhappy, and they were a really good team. Back in 1919, they were on their way to another World Series, and a lot of their guys were very unhappy with what they were getting paid. And so they were approached by gamblers, bettors, bookies to throw the World Series, which was to lose on purpose because they were the favorite. So to guarantee the loss, they were bet on. Well, it came out. They ended up getting found out that they cheated, and they went and were kicked out of baseball forever, and forever called the Chicago Black Sox. And not to say what they did was okay, but again, we're talking about money. These guys were making shit money. You know what their bonus was for making the World Series? Flat champagne.
Nice, I love that.
Flat champagne was their reward for making the World Series.
I love that.
I want some more than champagne.
And so imagine, being paid shit for what you're worth, and then to have something like that happen, for an owner who's making a lot of money off of you playing baseball.
Just get me drunk, I'll be okay.
And and so they threw the World Series and forever tarnished. But every single one of those Astros players are still playing. They're still playing baseball.
There was no
repercussions. No repercussions
whatsoever.
Yeah.
And so, baseball, in my opinion, has just become a joke considering where they're taking the moral standpoints on. So Joe Kelly, who actually was a part of the Red Sox the year after the Astros won the World Series, the manager, Alex Cora, went from the Astros to the Red Sox. And they were accused of cheating as well, doing the same thing, which was recording signs and relaying them to the hitters. Now, that Red Sox team, I think, was going to win no matter what. That was an awesome collection of players, but still, cheating's cheating. And Joe Kelly was a part of that. He was a pitcher on that team. Now, he was a pitcher. The pitchers weren't necessarily benefiting. But Joe Kelly this year is on the Dodgers. And It's been open season on the Astros. I mean, they've been
last season too, right? Joe Kelly was
last season, yeah.
He was the last season.
And so the Astros have had open season. They've been getting pegged all year.
Yep.
Spring training, summer camp, and then now during the regular season. So Joe Kelly threw at a couple of the Astros players, and then he struck out Carlos Correa. And this is really fun. You guys,
this is a picture. Or pull up a meme.
Video.
Let's laugh about a meme.
where the hell is the mouse?
Jansen, my man.
Hey, we should just talk about Hell's Kitchen instead.
You said what? Hell's Kitchen?
Actually, I'm on season 4 of Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's
Hey,
Kitchen?
dude, that's a freaking amazing show.
It is, but
Why? Because you like.
I could
people
never
their
be
ass
yelled at.
chewed
I could
out.
never, because I'm not a good enough cook to go on there.
This
I
is
know.
a shit.
This
Oh,
is
hell
this
no,
shit.
no.
What the fuck?
I
Hey.
wouldn't feed this to my dog. All right, so this is I think just a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
almost a month ago now. So Joe Kelly's pitching.
How can you tell? Is it because of the empty stand?
Well, you look at the date, July 28th.
Oh,
It was probably.
I was trying to make a joke. But
So he
Yeah,
throws.
yeah.
He throws in, throws low, throws in. Not really looking like he's trying to hit him, but now Joe Kelly throws fireballs. He throws like 98 to 101 miles.
It looks
an
like he
hour.
plays Pokemon at night.
Yeah, he's a big nerd. Oh, okay, so he does that. Now, he waits till the 4th pitch to do that. To me, I don't necessarily think that was intentional, but
Yeah, he's like
this guy's throwing 98 miles an hour.
He's like, oh fuck! I heard it. It sucks when you hear it too. He's like, what?
We need to fast
He's
forward.
like, Joe Kelly, what? You out for me or what?
Keeps throwing over to first. Throws over to first.
Big double.
Okay, they double him up.
That was a clean double too.
Throwing up. Throwing in. Who's this batting? Uriel Gurriel. He was part of that team. Walks him on 4 straight pitches.
Ooh.
Throws in on Carlos Correa.
Good. He's like, I'm
Carlos Correa was one of those guys. Look, and now going for the head is personal.
Yeah.
That's
that is-
personal.
yeah. Look at him. Correa. I was a Correa fan too.
I was too.
Before all this, I'm like, damn, Correa.
And so, boom. Okay, and foul. Strikes him out. Now here's where.
What the heck is that?
Look at him.
Gloves come off.
Wait.
Let's box.
And he's okay to do that?
Let's box.
Throw your fastball, bitch.
Let's box. Shut the fuck up, he said. For a man that plays Pokemon, man, he's such a gangster.
So bench is clear. They all come out, and so
He's like, hell yeah.
now, in my opinion, these Astros have nothing to say.
Yeah.
You have nothing to stand on. This is exactly what you deserve: is to have this 100-mile-an-hour fastball thrown at your head every single time, fucking cheating. Not to mention how many guys have lost jobs. There was a pitcher. There was a pitcher who came up and gave up like 5 runs one day. This is during that season where they won the World Series, or maybe it was the next year, and never got. He was a minor, got brought up, got shelled. They sent him back down. He never came back up. So they cost that man his job by cheating. And now the Astros have the balls to be offended that people are throwing the ball at their head. And Joe Kelly is just doing what everyone in the United States wants to do, which is hit Astros with 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, because that's what they deserve. So he does that, and Joe Kelly got suspended for 8 games, which eventually got reduced to like 4 games.
Free Joe Kelly. Free
But then
Joe
Trevor
Kelly.
Bauer, Trevor Bauer is a pitcher for the Reds, and he's actually a really good pitcher. And he had some custom cleats made. He had these custom cleats made.
With the face. Free Joe Kelly. Free Joe Kelly.
Oh my God,
Free
dude.
Joe Kelly.
And
That is priceless
so,
right there,
and
dude.
baseball found out about this because he posted it on like Instagram or
Social
something.
media?
And baseball told him, if you wear those, we're going to suspend you. So he tweets out to Carlos Correa and says, hey, you want these custom cleats? I'll mail them to you. Just send me your address. Carlos Correa was the guy Joe Kelly got into it with.
Oh,
And Trevor Bauer is fucking hilarious. He also is the guy.
where's he from? He also looks like a Nebraska boy almost. Corn-fed.
This is also the guy who got pissed off one time for giving up.
Man, there's so much freaking drama in baseball right now.
Well, there is. Well, look, but Trevor Bauer is like, he's the man. So I think he gives up a home run, or he gives up a hit, ground rule double or something like that. So he's getting shelled, having a bad game. Gives up another run. Gives up another run.
He's like, what
He
the fuck's
gives up
wrong
another
with
run.
you?
I think he had like a 3 or 4 run lead, and so he's pissed off. And he's young. He's a young dude. He's like in his like mid-20s. Boom, throws it
I remember this.
from
Yeah,
there over
the
the fence.
Yeah, over it.
He threw it that far. Jerry Francona comes out to ask him, "What the fuck's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
This is also the guy.
I remember that. Yeah, he does it all the way out.
Now this is also the guy. He loves drones. Well, before the American
what?
League drones,
Okay, got it.
drones,
Okay.
and
You love drones?
he
I
cut
fucking love
open
drones.
his finger, his index finger on his throwing hand, right before the American League Division Series. He still tried to go out and pitch, but it was an open cut, gushing blood everywhere. And they came out, they're like, "You can't pitch, man. Like you got blood. Like blood is pouring out of his finger.
Right.
But the dude's hilarious. He is the, in my opinion, what baseball needs, which is a guy who he's one of the guys who's telling Fernando Tatis, don't change, man.
Yeah, keep going.
Keep doing your thing. You keep swinging at 3-0 pitches if you want.
Yeah.
And so he is as real as it gets for a middle of career prime white player. This is what we need in baseball. Is this
honestly,
guy?
I don't know too much of baseball, but honestly, that's how it should be.
We
need some real
encouraging players to play hard. Yeah,
we need some real players.
He's a real one. He's a real one. So at least baseball is being policed because baseball didn't do nothing about the Astros cheating.
It was up to the coach, the managers. Man, you got a ton of notes over there.
I do, but I'm not going to get into these.
We barely made a dent in
here. Yeah, we're barely getting through baseball. Injuries are stacking up in both in football. A lot of dudes.
Football, yeah.
Football player Robert Quinn. No, not Robert Quinn. Defensive end for the Cowboys ruptured his quad muscle.
Yeah, it's all bad.
His quad muscle. Just practicing.
What does it take to rupture a quad muscle?
Whatever he was doing, he was doing just like one-on-one drills. Ruptured his quad.
That's the first
and
time I've ever heard
these
of that.
injuries are stacking up because these guys for the last 3-4 months have been doing nothing. They're not allowed to do nothing.
Yeah.
And so that's the danger really going into football season. How many other star players are going to get major, like rupturing your quad? That can
Especially
be
during the season too.
Rupturing your quad can be a career-ending injury depending on how well you recover and how well you give yourself time to recover. Kawhi Leonard, he fucked up his quad muscle. And the San Antonio Spurs kept trying to rush him back, and he was like, no. I'm not ready to come back. And that created a huge rift between those. And Kawhi Leonard did the right thing because he ended up going on the next year, being traded to Toronto, won Finals MVP, won the Finals, won Finals MVP. So, he's an example of how it worked recovering from it because he gave his body time to recover.
Right.
But if that defensive end for the Cowboys doesn't, let's say he tries to rush back and get back at the end of this year or the beginning of next year, do it again. And you're talking about the end of his career.
Yeah.
So it's very concerning to me that we're seeing injuries bounce up not only in football, but baseball and basketball.
Yep. Everywhere.
Although Rondo's coming back for the Lakers, which is huge for Game 4.
I love Rondo.
I do too. I think they have to have him. His leadership and veteran presence on that team is going to be way too valuable.
He's not a star,
but he's the guy you want on your team. You want him on your team. Yeah.
Rondo for sure. Oh, I know the first game of the season for the Saints against the Bucks.
The thing is, I know if I get into this topic, we're gonna be out here. We're gonna be at this for another hour or two.
What is it?
But politics.
Oh shit! Don't get me into that.
We're gonna be here for another hour or two, so we're not. We'll save that for next Sunday. We'll save it for next Sunday because the election's still 4 months away, 3 months away now.
Oh man.
So we got plenty of time to talk about politics.
Dang.
I kind
of want to talk about it now.
I would love to have Granny on, though, to talk to her because the thing is, Granny has lived through.
She hates Donald Trump too.
The thing is, Granny has lived
I
through.
personally like him.
And that's why I was like, I'm voting for Donald Trump too.
I'm going to be voting for Donald Trump
The problem is this is just like when Mitt Romney ran against Obama. I was not an Obama supporter, but I knew Mitt Romney was not good for America. Mitt Romney was not going to be good for America.
Everybody's like, well.
And that's the problem is right now. Neither one of them are the answer. Trump and Biden, neither one of them are the answer.
But who would you
but
rather
but I would rather have the man who has the economy and American people in mind when he's making decisions.
So I got a question for you. What makes you think that Trump is not the man for it?
Personality-wise. I think he's very abrasive, and I don't think he has much regard for everyone. Right now, he's punishing California for our liberal leaders because these fires going on in California, that it is needs to be a state of emergency. Look at outside.
I know.
We can't even, you can barely see down the street.
You're right.
And that's just here. We're hundreds of miles away from these fires. And it is, he hasn't come out and said it, but the rumor is he's not sending aid to California, and is not going to send aid to California because of how aggressively our liberal leaders have been against him. Nancy Pelosi was the one who spearheaded the impeachment articles, which was a sham. That was a monumental waste of taxpayer dollars.
It was.
Going after Donald Trump just for saying he wanted to investigate Joe Biden's son for corruption. And so Nancy Pelosi literally had custom gold pens made, served on a silver platter. I kid you not, I can't make this up.
I know.
To members of the House to sign.
Yeah.
Article. Why? What is wrong with this pen right here? I got an 8-pack of these for $2 at Walmart.
Yeah.
But she had to have custom gold pens served on a silver platter to people to sign the articles of impeachment because she felt that she had to commemorate that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, how many taxpayer dollars were wasted on these politicians flying back and forth from their home states to Washington to go through the sham of a fucking impeachment trial.
Right.
If you want to impeach someone over something that matters, I get it.
Yeah.
Look. So.
But he was literally he was being tried for impeachment over comments he made publicly about investigating Joe Biden's son for corruption because the United States has been sending billions of dollars to Ukraine, where Hunter Biden, an American, conveniently happens to be an upper level of that company that Ukraine has been getting billions of dollars from. So why are we investigating Donald Trump for publicly stating, I want to investigate Joe Biden and his son for corruption, and not Hunter Biden or Joe Biden for corruption, which is literally treason, giving billions of dollars from taxpayers to another foreign country. But instead we want to spend how much, I can't even begin to imagine how much money was spent attempting to impeach Trump. When members of the Democratic Party literally said, and it is recorded, I'm not going to bother going hunting for it. I should have already done that. But there are videos recorded of liberals stating the moment that Trump became elected, we're going to find a way to get this man impeached. Now, I am not a Trump supporter. I am neither Republican or Democrat. I am going to start pushing the middle party, because all of us are stuck in the middle between these two fucking piece of shit political parties. We are all stuck in the middle. That's why I'm going to start the middle party, and I am going to nominate
the middle party.
J. Cole, Mark Cuban, and Greg Popovich for president. Because tell me J. Cole wouldn't make a perfect president.
Exactly. So when we went to Vegas for the whatever concert, J. Cole came out and it was J. Cole 2024 or some shit. Yeah, J. Cole 2020, and he sold posters.
J. Cole is
I'm like, this better be real.
I hope it is. You know who else?
I'm like, well, because Kanye West is doing this.
You know what? Let's go.
That's a circus. Kanye West needs help.
I was like, yeah.
I would rather vote for Kanye West than Donald Trump or Joe Biden.
So let's go back to the whole like California and on the fires. So Donald Trump did come to California, and I guess he is restricting aid to California for this stuff. But honestly, too, like we have the money as California. Like Donald Trump is supposed to govern all of the United States, right?
Right.
But then we also have our own governors within the United States. The governor of California, what has he done to all this stuff? Only ask for more money?
It's a good point. So let's look at that.
Because he's not going into certain states unless they ask for help.
Because he gets shit on anytime he. So in the beginning of the coronavirus, he attempted to bring unity, which was say, this is how we're going to handle this. Every single liberal leader said, it's not your job. It's up to the governors and mayors to decide. And you know what he said?
Okay,
fine.
Do it.
Okay,
if you want help, ask for it, and I will give you my help. Not the help you think you need, but I will give you the help I know you need.
Yeah.
So he did exactly what any bigger person should do and say, you know what?
Do it.
Fine.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Honestly,
and what
you're supposed
look
to
at
do.
Minneapolis, Chicago. Lori Lightfoot.
Oh my goodness.
So Lori Lightfoot is wearing this mask right now that says "Stay home." #Stay home. The same bitch who was caught in March after lockdown happened was caught by citizens out with her husband in another part of Chicago that was nowhere near her home. This is the same bitch who now has a mask that says #stay home.
And she's not staying home.
And she's not,
Now,
did you hear about
Lori
the whole-
Lightfoot was adamantly against Donald Trump and against Donald Trump sending. She's like, we don't. Chicago doesn't need you.
Yeah.
Well,
Get outta
Chicago
here.
has had some of the most violent weekends and weeks and months in history, which is saying something because Chicago is a very, very dangerous and violent place to be.
And it's and you know
they
what?
got
Something
desperate.
about
They
Chicago
lost their jobs.
is that they are anti-gun. They are anti-gun. There's
liberal. It's liberal.
The gun laws there are so strict. You can't even have a gun in Chicago.
And so
But
who are the
yet
only
they
people
have
left with
a lot
guns?
more gun
Who
crimes?
are the only people left with guns?
The
Criminals.
bad guys.
Criminals.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Criminals. That's why in areas where citizens are empowered and especially in open carry areas, they have some of the lowest crime rates.
Right.
That's what we were talking about.
Have you guys ever?
If I'm a criminal, I want to live in California.
Yeah.
I want to live in San Francisco, in LA.
Word. I had the advantage.
I'm not afraid to go break into someone's house.
So have you ever heard
But
of
in
the-
Texas, I'm not breaking into nobody's house
They're
because
loaded.
they have shotguns in every room.
Yeah.
So
They
have you ever,
have a bathroom
have you ever
shotgun.
heard the saying, "The armed society is a polite society"?
Exactly.
Why? Because you know what? Everybody
fuck
is
with 'em.
armed. Everybody can kill you.
Yeah.
If
You want to know
gotta
why?
put
You want to know
somebody
why
that
I'm
knows
not?
they're
Exactly.
loaded.
Do you want to know why I'm not afraid of defunding the police? Living here, I'll wear a fucking gun on
Yeah,
my head. I'll go buy a
Exactly.
because if there's no police, who's gonna tell me I can't have a gun, an open gun?
Nobody can.
No one can.
Yeah.
Nope. What are you
No.
gonna do? Call the police?
Exactly.
I am the
So
police, bitch.
I don't have a problem with defunding the police. What I feel for is all the average people, L.A., San
Yeah.
Francisco,
That
Minneapolis,
all in the-
that don't have guns.
Mm-hmm.
That when they do, if and when they do defund the police, you will literally have gangs, and I'm not just saying Bloods and Crips, but you will have every ethnicity. There will be gangs that will go
And they will
block
create their
by
own
block,
police, as in to protect your
and
business.
they will tell you as a person with no gun in this neighborhood, if you want to be safe in my protection,
give me
you
this.
$100.
Yep.
Or
$100. That's pretty.
I'm just saying.
That's pretty good.
I'm just saying. Exactly.
I'll pay
I'm just saying.
$100.
Like, just throw a
Don't
number
ask
out there.
for-
And what do you think they're going to do with women and children?
Ooh.
What do you think?
I
What do you
actually
think is
did
going to
not
be
think
expected from women and children to be safe in the neighborhood?
Yeah.
They're going to expect something in return.
Yep.
So these liberals, and especially all you out there with liberal arts degrees who think that when the police are defunded, what are you going to protect yourself with? With your liberal arts degree? Is that how you're going to defend yourself from criminals?
By telling them don't do it. By putting a sign,
and
no
Like,
guns.
no, you
and
can't
who do
shoot
you,
me.
and
By
who do
putting
you,
a sign that says no guns allowed.
Yeah.
and who do you think is keeping these not Trump supporters, but radical Trump supporters in check too? Because don't you
Right,
think
right.
in those areas radical Trump supporters are going to be loading up their AR-15s?
Yeah, ready to go.
Same thing. Hey, motherfucker, did you vote for Trump? No? Boom.
Bah.
So not only are their police keeping criminals in order, but they're also keeping the radical right in check as well. Because
Right.
the radical right is
Right.
armed.
Yeah.
The radical right is armed.
Right.
The radical
They
left
are
is
right.
not armed. You're talking Antifa. They got baseball bats and paint bombs and rocks. The radical right is literally
And
armed
slingshots.
to the teeth. They make up probably 90% of gun ownership. The radical right.
Right. Exactly.
So
I
these
mean,
people who think defunding the police is a good idea really think
No.
long and hard about
Yeah.
who's being kept in check by the
Right,
police.
because the police keeps both sides on check.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what does need to happen is the police funding does need to be reduced.
I don't
because
think that.
nope. Listen to this.
Okay, go ahead.
Why,
Go
at
ahead,
the,
tell me.
at the
I'll
end,
tell you-
what,
I'll
what
tell you
happens
my
at the end of everywhere?
Everywhere.
What happens at the end of the month?
What?
Ticket.
They got to fill their quotas. You want to know why? Because they need a certain amount of income
Look that
to
up.
justify
Look that up and see if that's an actual myth or an actual truth.
quotas.
on
No,
that.
No,
they-
we
they
all
say it's
know.
a-
They say it's a myth. We all know that's
But come
true.
on now.
We all know that's true. So I'm not saying that police funding needs to be cut by 75%. I'm just saying the fact that police are out there looking for people whose license plate bulbs are out, tail lights are out, registration's out.
A black man driving.
Because what it does is that does
What was
target
that? With drunk driving? Like
that shit does target minorities. And let me tell you something. When you see people pulled over, there's usually two types of cars that are pulled over most of the time. And what are they? old pieces of shit,
Yep.
and hot rods.
Yep.
People in a 2020 Camaro. Because
yeah.
those motherfuckers are out there speeding.
Yeah.
But old cars are being pulled over. And who are mostly driving old pieces of shit? Minorities and poor
That's all they can
people.
afford.
So when a license plate bulb is out in a piece of shit
They're
car,
like, wait, what's he up to? Come
then
on.
they get to say, oh, I pull you over. They're fishing. You got a warrant out for your
Yeah.
arrest. Do you have anything? And the fact that they're writing tickets over a license
A
plate
li-
bulb
yeah.
out, you want to know why? Because they can't.
They have two. This one of them are out.
Just one of
This
them are out.
Okay,
so,
okay,
now
so
let me tell you
on
something.
that, yeah, you know
now
what?
when
That's
when
just- that- okay.
that's why, in my opinion, police funding should be cut. Police should not be going out searching for petty things to write people up on. What they should be out there doing is policing areas of need. Now
Chicago.
I listened to a really good podcast to listen to. Not that I agree with a lot of stuff they say, but I think it's very interesting to hear another side of view. Charlemagne the God has his podcast, The Breakfast Club.
Or Charlemagne. Okay,
Charlemagne the God?
Yeah,
And I was listening to a really important thing because someone posted something about it. I was like, listen, I got to listen to this before I can have an opinion on it. And they were talking about the aid that was being given to Chicago. They're having their most violent summer ever.
They have been.
And so Chicago, Lori Lightfoot, you dumb bitch, asked for help from Trump. She said, please send help. And so he did. He sent federal agents into Chicago,
But
and
only
they've been
to
helping.
investigate, not to help with all their other stuff.
Well, no, they're cracking down on crime, which it has
Right,
been.
right, right.
It's been working. But Chicago and these inner cities, they don't need just federal agents. They need federal aid.
Yeah.
The reason why I say cutting back on police funding is if we can find a way to now, an even deeper one is we need to defund politicians.
Oh.
That is the first one.
All right.
Hell,
let me
I don't
finish.
believe in defunding the police.
I don't.
But I believe in defunding.
But first,
but
before defunding the
politicians.
police,
Yeah.
defund politicians.
For sure.
Because explain to me why politicians need to be making,
$1 million.
let's just say,
not making
anything
millions.
over $100,000. Why does any politician need to make more than $100,000?
Yeah.
If you want to say, okay, a congressman should make $100,000, that's fine. Any penny over $100,000
Yeah, why?
is unreal. If you now even deeper than that is corruption.
Yeah.
How much money have politicians been making under the table by
Exactly.
letting these big companies continue to pollute our earth, continue to run pipelines through our water that's polluting water, and backdoor deals like Hunter Biden being a part of a company that got billions of dollars of taxpayer money in foreign aid to that Ukrainian company.
Look,
To
I
come-
will
billions.
admit that
to
we
come
don't.
How
back
we-
many
with- yeah.
how many people could you take off the street with $1 billion?
$1 billion.
Let's just say this: politicians right now, or anybody that works for the federal government, is still getting paid through this whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
They're all getting paid.
You want to
Small businesses
Do you wanna-
are feeling the brunt of this whole
Of
thing.
everything.
Do you want to hear an
And-
even more alarming statistic than politicians?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, since March 18th, Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, since March 18th, has seen his net worth go up $76 billion. Bill Gates, since March 18th, the beginning of the pandemic, has seen his net worth go up $16 billion. Mark Zuckerberg, $42 billion.
Yeah.
Facebook.
Facebook,
Warren
yeah.
Buffett, mogul, $12 billion. Larry Ellison, I don't know who that is, $12 billion. Steve Ballmer, tech mogul, Microsoft, $18 billion. Elon Musk,
Ooh, yeah, my guy.
$43 billion.
Give him all the.
That
billions.
is
I want my guy to have all the billions.
$200 billion.
Yeah.
All those men have just made since the beginning of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how much money, how many people,
They put out.
tell me how many people in the United States could benefit from $200 billion.
Shit,
I'm pretty sure they could get everyone a monthly $2,000 stimulus check
Easily.
and still be fine.
Be good.
So you want to know who the real looters are? Not these people in Minneapolis, not these people in LA. Those are the real looters.
Damn.
Now I
never
have
thought of it like that.
I have
but
no
yeah, I
problem
feel
with
it.
capitalism. I have nothing wrong with Jeff Bezos making his millions on Amazon.
Right.
But when we're talking about people who are going to be starving, we have people starving. We have in California
jobs.
alone,
Like you said, small town
barbers,
businesses.
hairstylists,
At least
small
support,
businesses.
Gyms.
Tell me how $2 billion, $200 billion couldn't have kept Americans okay during this.
Yeah.
Instead, now you have people who have lost their businesses, lost their livelihood, and when this is all over, we're going to be looking at a different America. You're not going to see all those jobs that people lost come back.
Have you heard that after November 3rd, the election day, possibly everything's going to change.
Oh.
Things are going to open up.
Now let me tell you something. Exactly, that's a big thing. People are like, oh, after election, there's going to be a cure for a crime, and there will be. This is going to get conspiracy theory, but
Hell yeah.
look at. We talked about this. Look at the series of events. Donald Trump, earlier this year, the impeachment trials fell through. Everyone knew that, though. No one believed that Trump was getting impeached.
Did you hear the actual transcript from Adam Schiff? From that?
They wouldn't.
It was a parody.
Yeah.
A parody of what he thought what was said.
Yeah.
And
they would not let the whistleblower who heard the conversation on the phone testify. They would not. Adam Schiff claimed he didn't even know who the whistleblower was. If you don't know who the whistleblower is, then how do you know that there's any credit, any validity to it?
Exactly.
So the whole thing was a sham. It was taxpayer money thrown down the toilet.
Yeah.
So now, so that's earlier this year, right? That was like January?
Yeah, around there.
So then in February, China lost a major trade war with the United States that was spearheaded by Trump, who went to bat for Americans and making sure that trade between America and China was fair. That not only Chinese and wealthy Americans, politicians, were benefiting, that we were all benefiting. Because a lot of what's been going on between the United States and China has only benefited Chinese business and high elite Americans.
Look, I'm not gonna lie.
So that's January, February, and then in March, a illness gets released that rewind comes to light that there is this pandemic on our horizon right after the Democrats lost. The American economy is booming. Black unemployment rate and minority unemployment rate. Stock market all-time high. Black unemployment rate and minority unemployment rate was at an all-time low, the lowest it had ever been. Black people had never been more employed than at the beginning of this year with Donald Trump at the helm of our country.
Right, America was prospering.
So Democrats what did Democrats say right before and when Trump got elected? The whole world is going to blow up. Trump's going to take us to war. The economy is going to tank. And it did the opposite. Trump avoided war. He avoided war with Iran. He got the economy up. He got black unemployment rate the lowest it had ever been. And so Democrats are now thumbs in their fucking mouth crying about losing. Chinese have just lost a major trade war. And now everyone says, well, why would China release the virus in their own country? Because China is a socialist country. And if for those of you who are not aware of the travesty... Same fucking thing.
It's in a cusp,
Socialism is like gold plating a turd. It is still a turd with a nice name. So China...
I got you.
Do some research, people. China is doing unspeakable things to their people. Now let's rewind. That's the end of last year. What was going on in Hong Kong? Protesting. They threatened those protesters that if you don't stop protesting, we'll throw you in prison. They couldn't stop them, even with the threat of prison time for protesting. Now, what kind of country? No one's being thrown in prison here for protesting. No. They're being thrown in jail for violence, looting, destruction. No one was ever thrown in prison for protesting.
That's your right. That's your
over
constitutional
in China,
right.
They have the Chinese government does not care about their people. If they did, they would have pollution regulation. If you go over how smoky it is out here right now, that is what Chinese people go through year round in pollution. Pollution. The Chinese government does not care about its people. And that's what happens in socialism. For those of you who think Bernie Sanders would be an amazing president and that socialism should come to the United States, take a look at Venezuela, which just became a socialist country where they had their guns stripped from them and then the government turned on them.
But you know what? Bernie Sanders talks about socialism in Denmark, in Switzerland, and in Sweden. But if you look at it, there are not socialist countries. They are capitalistic countries
and you want to know the difference?
Take care of their people.
You want to know the difference?
High taxes.
Do you know what the difference is between our country and their country as well? Over in those countries, there are no minorities.
No.
They are all one
They're
race.
all one thing, yeah.
They do not have the problems we have in a multicultural country.
Yeah.
Because not only do you have tensions between
Race
white people and black
wars
people
and
here,
all that.
you have tension between white people and Mexican people here,
Yeah.
and you also have tension between black people and black people. Look down in LA. You have black people killing each other. You have white people killing black people in the form of police brutality against black people, which is slightly overstated. Slightly overstated. Now, you talk about the stat is thrown out there, more white people are killed by police than black people. That's because white people make up way more than black people in this
Correct.
country.
I mean,
the more
what-
concerning stat
what's the-
is the percentage of minorities in prison.
Yeah.
Because if you look at how many
There's
white
a
people,
documentary on that too, on
you look at
Netflix.
in our country, white people, black people, Mexican, other.
Yeah.
You look at police brutality, people killed, white people, black people, Mexican, other minorities.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
how. So
Right,
that
right.
makes sense, right? Our
Yeah, yeah, there's
population
more
is
population of
representative
white people, yeah.
of how people are killed by police, by the amount of. Now, what is different? I'm just gonna is how those people are treated. Jasmine shared that picture of how that one kid who shot up that church over in the South, that black church,
Okay,
how
yeah,
he was
yeah,
treated
yeah.
versus how
How,
George
yeah.
Floyd was treated. We'll push that aside.
Yeah.
Yes, more white people are killed by police, but there's more white people in the United States than any other
Yeah.
race.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But what's concerning when you look at the amount of people in prison, you're not going to see white, black, Mexican, others.
Yeah.
It's white, black,
Yeah.
Mexican,
Mexicans,
others.
Other, yeah.
That's where it's proportionally different. So in those Denmark, Sweden, mostly white, you're probably talking like 95
So what is
percent
it?
or higher. So they
Right.
do
They
not
don't- they
have
don't
the
worry about that
same
shit.
problems as us. They don't have the same financial disparity in communities. You don't see one community called an inner city in Denmark. How many inner cities does Denmark you think have?
I don't know.
Probably none.
Yeah.
They probably have country folk that live in,
Right,
in-
right, in the country.
city folk.
but you don't have inner
No,
cities
yeah.
in Denmark,
Yeah.
Sweden. So that is a major problem in the United States. That's why I was talking about Chicago is on the Breakfast Club, Charlamagne and the Gods podcast. They're talking, but where I disagree with them, they said that Chicago doesn't need federal agents; they need federal aid. No, they need both. They
Yeah,
need
I
federal
agree.
agents to come in and clean up the streets, and then they need the American government to invest in inner cities.
Okay,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you say it like that, then yes, they need to
Tell me
invest in
why.
there.
I heard this heartbreaking story of this black woman who was sent to prison because she lied about where she lived so she could get her kids into a
Kid to
better
another
school.
school. Yes.
Why does
Why is
a
that
single
happening?
black
Wow.
mother have to lie about where she lives
And
to get
thrown in
her
jail
children
for it.
a better
No,
education?
but thrown in jail for
Okay,
it.
but
Thrown
I
into,
want my kid to
not
go
just
to-
jail,
Look.
not jail. Mail fraud is prison time. That's a federal
exactly.
crime.
But
Okay,
just 'cause
so-
I want my kid to get a
better education.
So that's an
A
issue
better
with.
education.
Okay, I will agree. I will say that that's an issue with how we run things here in America. In other places like Denmark and these other places, they have schools competing against each other, so
Yeah.
that the parent has school choice to go to send their schools here. So they compete against each other to get the funding that they need. So if that's the case, I mean, like right here, you live at a certain area and you have to send your kids
Which
to this
means if
one
you're poor
school.
and you live
You're
in an
gonna go to a
area,
poor school
if you live
and
in
you-
Chicago,
with a poor
Poor
education.
if you live in Chicago, if you live in LA, Compton,
Yeah.
And that's where I'm
tell
from.
me what kind of good teachers want to go
They
teach
don't
in
give a
Compton
shit.
in an
No.
inner city.
Yeah.
They don't.
They
The
don't.
teachers there don't give a shit.
Now the teachers that are there, they have to worry if I tell this kid to get out of my classroom because he's a
You
disruption.
might come back and
Am I going to go out to my car and find that he's part of a gang that's going to shoot me?
yeah, exactly.
Right.
So now you have teachers that are afraid to
They're just trying to make it through the day.
they're just trying to make it through the day
Yeah.
without pissing anyone off.
Nothing.
The same thing is going on in Mexico. In areas where teachers are teaching drug cartels students,
Kids, yeah.
they have to go to school with a hood on. And this is in Mexico.
Yeah.
Because they have to worry that if they give a kid a bad grade, that the cartel is going to come and kill them.
Yeah.
These teachers have to live in fear. So you start linking similarities
Yeah.
in places like Venezuela, in inner cities of the United States. We have a major problem. Not only does Chicago need federal agents to come and clean up the streets, but they need federal aid, investment in inner cities. That's why when you defund politicians. And then there needs to be police reform. I don't believe in
Oh, yeah.
defunding
Yeah,
the police,
there
but
you go.
there absolutely needs to be police reform.
Great. Police
And
reform is
police
definitely
should
needed,
only
not-
be
not
investigating
defunding.
issues.
Yeah.
But
not going out fishing, because what going
Fishing
over pulling someone over for a tail light out, or for a turn signal out, or for hell registration being overdue.
Yeah, it's not good.
Where does that target? My car doesn't have
Lax.
my car does not have a license plate bulb out. You want to know why? Because I can afford to take it to a shop where if it is out, they're going to replace it. Tell me how many people can afford to go to the shop that I take my car to.
Not me.
Okay,
Because,
yeah, I
have
can't
a license
either.
belt on mine, and I never replaced it.
But you can replace it yourself,
In
though.
my opinion,
Never did.
police reform.
I still get pulled over.
In my
for it.
opinion, police reform starts with better training. Police. Joe Rogan brought up a great point that police should be trained in mixed martial arts. If they're trained in jujitsu,
exactly.
do they need to put their knee on George Floyd's neck?
Hell no, they don't.
If they're trained in jujitsu, do they have to put Michael Brown in a
In the
chokehold?
chokehold. And then
No.
at the same time, when
So something-
it's one black dude, and then there's 20
Tell me-
cops.
tell
20,
me-
20 dudes for one guy.
Tell me what's
If I'm a cop, I'm taking you on one on one.
Ahmad Brooks.
Take you down.
Ahmad Brooks, the guy that was asleep in his car, drunk at that Wendy's. If
The drive-thru?
those
Yeah.
police officers are trained in jujitsu, he does not get away from them.
Yeah.
He does not run away,
Run away.
and they don't have to shoot him.
All right, so here's
Now-
the
Even that whole situation.
So-
you
so
could
even
calm that
though-
whole
So here's
Even
another thing
though
about
Ahmad
police
Brooks-
brutality, though. Like they can. It's all about also too on the situation, the persona, the person that you're stopping. Okay, because if the persona cooperates with the police, you know what? Every policeman is not the same, but you also see people being like
Instigating.
instigating the
Instigating.
situation.
It is.
And if you do that, and if you just cooperate with the police, and then something happens, then you have some base to do that. But if you just instantly think that the police officer is just gonna like
The thing
come
is-
to your car and just get on your case and stuff, and you have this attitude already, because it's all about attitude. It's all about how you treat
Carry
people.
yourself.
The thing is, I watched the video of Ahmad Brooks, the Wendy's guy,
The Wendy's dude?
and those police officers were very calm.
They
Yeah.
They treated him with
It started
great
off
respect.
like- obviously
The
he was
problem,
drunk.
the
Yeah.
problem
He
with
was
him
drunk.
is he was afraid. He was already out of jail on probation.
Right.
With
So
that
he was
DUI,
scared.
he was
Yeah.
going back. I understand that he did not want to go back to jail, and
Right.
he was drunk,
He
so
did
he's
not
not
wanna take
thinking
that
right.
But whose fault is that? Though?
But
Whose
here's-
fault that he's drunk?
Now here's the problem: is he was in the wrong.
Yeah.
And
was.
those police officers, when he stole their taser, you have to think, and they have a split second to react right there.
Correct,
And
correct.
if you put yourself in their shoes, if he turns around and tases one of them, he can now take their gun.
Yes, exactly.
So he is a threat. That situation definitely could have been handled different if those police officers were trained in mixed martial arts, because
Easy.
he overpowered two police
guys.
officers. Now,
Yeah.
what do
Oh my
what do
gosh,
you and I
that's
know? What do
true.
we all know
Two
about mixed
guys.
martial arts? A little guy who knows mixed martial arts can fuck up a much larger,
Yes.
stronger
Easily.
man when they are highly trained in mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
So tell me
Correct.
why.
Learn how to subdue somebody.
Tell me why police officers are trained less. They spend less time training than a barber.
I
A
believe
barber
it.
goes through more hours
They
of
probably have, what,
training
2 classes?
than a police officer does before they're turned on their own with a gun.
Yeah.
How many out of shape police officers are unable
shit
to
ton.
restrain someone? So in their mind, their thought is, I can't beat this guy in a wrestling match, in a fight. Pull out my gun. That's
Yeah.
what I have.
Easy-
That's my
easy money.
advantage.
Pop.
Whereas
it's,
if they're
it's
trained
like
in
their
mixed-
comfort zone.
if they're trained in mixed martial arts,
Right. It's
we're
like
talking a
You got
much
Elijah?
different story.
Elijah?
It's like their comfort zone. They just have those guns, and it's like a little.
And
thing
if
that they
instead
have.
they're trained in mixed martial arts, we have a much different story as far as it comes to police brutality. So police reform to me starts with better training,
Yes.
better screening, a nationwide police database. Kavanaugh, the guy that put his knee on George Floyd's neck, he had 8 other incidences. 8 other incidences
Sleeping?
of there was complaints against
But
against
if,
him.
but if you look at the whole video, they released the body cam, and
It looks much
and
more-
George Floyd, he was not cooperating.
But you wanna know
he
what
was
else?
pushing. He
You wanna
was
know what else?
pushing.
He was I don't know at that moment, but his toxicology report came back. He was on fentanyl.
Yeah.
So not only are you talking
he's
about a
not-
person who's uncooperative, but he also might have been
drugged up.
under the influence of drugs,
Yeah.
which again, I don't think that anyone other than Kavanaugh and the Asian police officer were at fault, because they were the 2 most senior officers. One of those guys was a rookie, still during training, and the other guy had only been a police officer for a year. So they're as junior officers, they're relying on Kavanaugh and that Asian guy to do the right thing, to make the right call.
That is true.
And one of the, I believe it was the guy who had been a police officer about a year. He had mentioned, "Hey, do you want to roll him over so he can breathe?" Because he was for 9 minutes. George Floyd complained he couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
Now fentanyl might have played a part in his death. But one of those officers did suggest to Kavanaugh, "How about we turn him on his side so he can breathe?" And Kavanaugh said, "No, he's fine."
So I also.
But all 4 of those police officers were arrested, and in my opinion, the only 2 that needed to be arrested were Kavanaugh and the Asian officer, because they were the senior officers. They were supposed to make the right call. And Kavanaugh, you could tell in the first video that came out before the police cam, the citizens ones, you could see it. He had no regard for George Floyd's well-being.
Mm-hmm. There is citizen cooperation that needs to be done.
There does. That's why if any of us get pulled over by a police officer,
I'm cooperating completely.
Cooperate the whole time, because it is not worth 1, going to jail, or 2, getting shot.
Right.
And I don't have the same fear being pulled over as one of you 2 would.
Yeah.
As a white person, I don't
have any fear.
But I still,
to be honest.
but here's the thing:
I
I'm still not going to do anything to provoke it, even if I don't think I've done anything wrong. I want to go home.
Exactly.
And these
everybody wants to go home.
Ahmaud Brooks,
even police
priority,
want to go home
drunk
too.
or not,
Yeah,
exactly. And that is why, in Ahmaud Brooks' case, I did not fault those police officers for doing what they did. It would have been nice to have seen that have a different outcome, because Ahmaud Brooks being drunk, driving his vehicle, was not worthy of him dying that night.
Yeah.
That was not worth it. That was not an incident where he needed to die. The fact that he died, but pedophiles serve 5 to 10 years in jail and then get released again.
And out there,
Tell me how that makes any fucking sense.
Yeah.
He did not deserve to die that. George Floyd, Michael Brown, Breonna Taylor did not deserve to die.
Okay,
But
so
each one of those
on the whole thing of
situations-
Breonna Taylor, though, there was a no-knock warrant out for her boyfriend.
Her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Right, no knock. You know how hard it is to get a no-knock warrant?
But she was unarmed and sleeping.
Yeah, but when somebody comes to your door, and yes, there's a no-knock warrant, and then you get shot at, you as a police officer, what would you do? Shoot back, or do you just?
They were shot at?
Yes.
Who were they shot at by?
Because the owner thought that they were being broken into. So he shot first. But there was a no-knock warrant. So there's situations there that are.
I don't know enough. I don't know enough about that story, but you hear of other ones.
Look it up real quick.
I remember.
While we
I
talk.
remember another story, and this is another one of these no-knock. It was a Hispanic family, and this was a family where there was people in and out. They were all crowded into one house. Yeah. So there was one family living in one room, one family living in another, and there was someone who was coming in and out that was wanted.
Yeah.
Now, the police, knowing that they knew that there were civilians in there, they threw a flash grenade in the window, broke the window.
Hell.
That flash grenade landed in a crib and melted a little girl's face.
That's.
Now, as the police stormed in and this little girl is screaming, they pinned her parents down, who had to listen to their little girl scream with her face being melted off by a flash grenade.
Melted off by a flash grenade?
There was someone they were there for who was not there. They did not know. He had not been there in days. They still went in. They threw a flash grenade in through the window. It landed in the little girl's crib and destroyed her face. Yeah. Little girl, baby, infant, laying in a crib. What police are allowed to do is very reminiscent of me of what the Nazis were given the power to do there. Well, are they on the same level? No. But is it similar? Yes. And is it a scary similarity?
Yes.
Absolutely. That's why police reform starts with training, proper training and regulations. What's sad is that police officers' hands are cuffed when it comes to the real criminals.
Yeah.
But when it comes to how they handle civilians, it's fucking open season.
Yeah.
Open season to act the way they do.
Yeah.
To no-knock warrant in the middle of the night when there are civilians involved.
And they
knew Breonna Taylor was an innocent. They wanted nothing with her. They wanted nothing to do with her. But somehow she dies in this process.
Yeah, there should be a totally different.
There has to be a better way to do this.
Yes.
Whether it's the moment this motherfucker walks out their house in broad daylight.
And then just freaking
Take him down.
Yeah, easy.
Blasting through a home in the middle of the night when there are
Not
civilians involved are not right. Because how many stories do you hear where they go into the wrong fucking house?
Yeah,
How many
and
people?
then somebody-
How many people have died because they were in the wrong house? Another
At the
story.
wrong time. It could've
Another
been
story I got
anyone
for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
We're
was
just visiting, not knowing the whole
Have you-
situation.
have you ever
And
heard-
they
oh,
just
shit,
come
pop,
in.
pop, pop. Yeah,
Exactly,
They
and
come in
people,
right here,
and
not
people,
even knowing.
and
Not
people,
even knowing.
who don't know, like if you hear a knock on your door, you start seeing people circle your house with lights.
Yeah.
Aren't you gonna go check?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna get defensive.
Because you don't know. And exactly, someone starts trying to burst through your door. Let's say you're a gun owner,
Yeah.
and someone breaks through your front door. What are you gonna do?
Get my gun.
Pull your
How?
gun on them. And what is the police gonna do? Shoot you.
Shoot back,
And
yeah.
you had nothing to do with it.
Yep.
Have you ever heard of the term swatting
Yes.
Yeah, spotting, yeah.
Yeah.
with gamers?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. With
Well,
So
gamers.
what
explain it a
happens
little
is,
bit.
let's
Yeah.
just say you live in New York and I live here in California, and we're playing Call of Duty, and I tell you what I'm gonna do to your mom.
What?
I tell you what I'm gonna do to your mom. What do kids on? I'm gonna
Yeah,
bang your mom.
yeah.
I'm gonna bang your mom, bro. I just beat you. I just killed you.
Yeah.
And so what these people are doing, especially to streamers, let's say like someone doesn't like a streamer, they are able to find out where they live by hacking. They can hack in,
Yeah,
find
do
your
it.
IP address,
Yeah.
find out where you live. And what they're doing is calling in and saying, hey, this address is a hostage situation. I can see it on their stream right now. They've got someone as a hostage.
Yeah.
So SWAT gets called in, and now you have a police situation.
Whole bunch of
Someone
fucking
comes to their door,
bullshit.
not knowing. So another story, a guy called, they got into an argument online, and he was a streamer, big guy. They get called. He's like, this guy that doesn't like him calls and says, hey, this address, there's a hostage situation going on. SWAT pulls up. They tell him, hey, send so-and-so out. Guy comes out. They shoot him. Innocent
Wow.
gamer. Police reform starts with better training and
Yes,
better
for
policies.
sure. For
It has
sure.
to.
Sure.
Is
But
defunding
it's
the
all-
police the right choice? No.
No.
Because you know what happens if
You
they
have to fund the police even more to
Three-
get these reforms and everything more.
three things are going to happen if they defund the police. And by defunding the police, I mean abolishing police.
Yeah.
Three things are going to happen. The first thing that's going to happen is people in rich areas are going to hire private security.
Oh yeah, why not?
Easily. Yeah.
Which means the rest of us that aren't in
Those
good
higher
neighborhoods,
areas, we gotta fend for ourselves.
we have to fend for ourselves. Number two, what happens is the government's going to roll in military, which
Oh, yeah.
means 8 p.m. curfews,
Yep.
which means if you step out of line, they're going to
Everybody in,
shoot you,
everybody in.
which means if you're out past curfew or you do something they don't say, you're shot,
Shot at,
you're
yeah.
go put in an unmarked grave, and there's never any investigation
Trace
into
or
it.
nothing. Yep.
And then number three, the roaming gangs. So defunding the police and abolishing the police is not the answer.
Yeah.
Better policies and better
That-
training.
And honestly, that's not what Trump wants to do. He doesn't want to defund the police or abolish the police or anything. He wants to. He's behind the police
He-
for
yeah.
all this.
He is,
stuff.
but he's done more in this last year into police reform than Obama ever did in his 8 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tell
And-
me,
yeah.
And what
tell
about
me,
Joe Biden? He has 40 years
For 8
in politics.
In
Biden
politics,
has
without
been.
doing anything.
Yeah,
Biden
hasn't
has.
done a
Biden has.
I mean, I don't
not-
know. He's probably done some stuff. I'm not
Something,
gonna lie.
but-
Actually,
He's done something.
the opposite. Biden has been a part of policies that have enabled police to become what they are today.
Today.
His
Ah,
running,
yes.
With
his running mate Kamala Harris, she was known as being soft on cops when she was a district attorney. She refused to look into issues of police brutality, even in her own
Yeah,
city,
yeah.
because she did not want to lose
Was
police
that in
support.
Baltimore or
San Francisco.
San Francisco. Okay.
She did not want to be. She did not want to lose police endorsement. She did not want to step on the toes of other district attorneys.
Because
Now
of
tell me,
that.
if you, as a black woman, are passionate about police reform and justice,
Yeah.
are you afraid to step on anyone's toes? Fuck no, you're
no.
not.
Yeah.
Now tell me, in 8 years, how much police reform did Obama sign in? He was very vocal about police brutality,
Yeah.
but he did absolutely zero to do
fix
anything
it.
about
To
it.
fix
That's,
yeah.
So all he did was
Now-
just talk, complain,
now another,
complain, and not do anything
yeah.
about it.
Another topic for another day is how Obama and Jay-Z and LeBron James, as well as Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, and Hillary Clinton, are a part of the Illuminati, the rich elite who
Yeah.
have their own agenda.
Yeah.
I
Let
know
me tell you
nothing-
something.
I know nothing about
Let me
that.
tell you something. I don't either. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Clintons, Jay-Z, Beyonce, which I love you, Beyonce. If you want to leave Jay-Z and get out of that Illuminati
with a
life,
real man.
be with a real man who ain't a part of that. Holla.
Holla at me.
LeBron James. Let me tell you something. LeBron James is part of that.
I see that.
That's still a conspiracy.
Let me
It's
tell you
not
something.
proven,
Let me tell you
but
something about
it's-
LeBron
it's a
James.
thought.
Yeah, because I see
Let-
something.
let me
with
tell
the,
you- let me-
Well, even with the kid trafficking thing too, with the Clintons, Jay-Z, and all, because they have that brand with what is it? It's like a face, but like the face is ripped off. It's like
It's called Frazzle Drip.
Is
What
that
you're
what's
talking
called?
about is Frazzle Drip. It's
Yeah,
the whole-
and they have like a logo on their clothes.
But let me
and
tell you
shit.
something about all this. We'll take LeBron James for an example. LeBron James, rewind. Daryl Morey, he's the general manager for the Houston Rockets. His job is to sign players, trade for players. When the Hong Kong protests were going on last fall, he retweeted a thing on Twitter in support of the Hong Kong protesters. Well, the NBA and China have billions of dollars tied in together. China gives the NBA billions of dollars to be connected.
Yeah, together. Yeah.
And so in China, horrible human rights violations are occurring.
Yeah.
The government does not care about people, and they have no problem with polluting the things for increasing money. Right now, Christians are being rounded up and tortured until they renounce Jesus Christ. Chinese, not Americans in there
Are you
preaching.
talking about
I'm talking about
China?
Chinese Christians.
Oh, man.
Chinese Christians are being rounded up, and if you are a preacher or someone pushing Christianity in China, you are tortured until you renounce Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Where else does that occur in the United States? Almost nowhere, except for in South America, in the sticks,
Yeah, way
and
out there.
Africa. Those are the
Yeah,
only
Africa,
two
yeah.
major areas where it's just untouched. Horrible things happen to Christians in those areas. So Daryl Morey retweet something in support of the Hong Kong protesters, which we should all be in support of the Hong Kong protesters, because they're literally just protesting human rights, basic human rights. So after this happens, China's pissed. They want to back out of the deal with the NBA. So LeBron James, who also is invested in a lot of Chinese stuff, he came out and said that he did not think it was okay what Daryl Morey did. The Hong Kong protesters started burning their LeBron jerseys, started saying how LeBron James did not care about humans. And so LeBron comes out, and what does he say? No, I'm sorry, that's right, there's some human rights violations going on there. Still tried to protect his assets and said, I'm not going to speak up about this anymore. That's all he said.
No comment.
But he has been one of the biggest pushers of Black Lives Matters in the United States. So essentially what it comes down to is he only cares about his own race.
All right, let me put something on here. I just looked something up, and then.
But tell me if you cared about. He has still not apologized for disregarding Chinese human rights. He's because he still only cares about the money he stands to gain by doing that. So if he really cared about human rights, he wouldn't worry about it. He's probably already worth close to $1 billion.
Who are you saying he?
LeBron James.
Okay.
And so, listen, I get looking out for making, I don't have a problem with him supporting Black Lives Matter and caring about that. I don't. I'm glad he does, because we need more people like LeBron James behind this. We have to. Because the only
what?
behind Black Lives Matter and social justice in general. I'm not talking
Okay,
about the
so
Black Lives.
I do believe in social justice in general.
And I'm not talking about
I'm not talking about Black Lives
I'm not talking
Matter.
about the Black Lives Matter Foundation. I'm not talking about that organization. I'm talking about the social movement of Black Lives Matter.
Okay, then all right, I'm with you on that then.
I'm not talking about the Black Lives Matter organization, because
Okay.
I don't agree with that either.
Okay,
I'm
good.
talking about the Black Lives Matter movement, the social justice movement.
Right, police reform.
And social justice.
And social justice, correct.
We all collectively have to be a part of that movement. We don't need to be a part of the organization. You can support this without supporting that.
Right. So and that's crazy, because at the beginning when this whole George Floyd thing happened, like you had Republicans and Democrats in unity with this whole thing, but then like some other people came in and hijacked this whole thing and made it into a disgusting thing.
Different thing.
Well, and the problem is the Black Lives Matter Foundation, which is there's the Black Lives Matter Foundation, and the Black Lives Matter Foundation has received $200 million from George Soros, who we all know. I don't know if you know George Soros. We should all know George Soros. he is a mastermind behind a lot of the shit that goes on in this world, and he's a big pusher behind the New World Order, which is who Bill Gates is also a part of. Again, this New World Order, Illuminati, you can call it whatever you want, but we'll just call it the New World Order or Illuminati. Or whatever you want to call it. But this elite movement where they want where the big pushers behind socialists are these few people up here, because the only people who benefit from socialism and communism is people up here. Because imagine this big funnel, and right now this big funnel in the United States, a big funnel, everything comes in and everything comes back out. In a communist or socialist, the funnel comes down and then goes like this, and it pinches, it chokes all these resources and pitches it up here, and only a little bit comes out to everyone down here. But there's this big basin up here of resources and production only benefits the people that are up here controlling it.
And I honestly feel that.
And so the Black Lives Matter Foundation has received hundreds of millions of dollars, and what they've used that money for is not only freeing protesters who've been arrested unjustly, which has happened. There are protesters who have been not only killed but arrested unjustly. But they're also freeing the looters and the people who are destroying things, and the people who are becoming, benefit for themselves. And the people who are becoming violent. There have been people in the Black Lives Matter movement who have assaulted innocent white people, minorities, and police officers.
Right,
all the time.
Right.
So that is the problem with the Black Lives Matter Foundation. Is they have become too, honestly, in my opinion, too big for their own good, and they are not drawing a line on morals. If you are against police, then you're with us. Whether that means you're looting, destroying, or assaulting someone. Now look in areas like Seattle, where they made the Chop Zone.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
People have been dying in there.
Yeah.
And they refuse to let paramedics or police in to investigate.
So I don't think that's completely true, because they don't know. The people dying in there is completely true. What I'm saying is that they would not let police in there, but paramedics will not go in any zone whatsoever
would you want to go in there
without police escort, especially in those type of zones, because they are people. No, hell no. But people, I mean, paramedics are not going to go in there unless it's safe.
Exactly. Yeah.
So especially in that zone, if they have no police escort, obviously you should know they're not going to go in there.
Yeah.
Why would they endanger their lives for your lives? Like you decided to be in there in the first place.
They have no way of knowing if what they're going into there is an ambush.
Right? Yeah, exactly. They don't know.
They have no idea.
No.
They have no knowledge. And so this Black Lives Matter movement has a major issue. Is they are supporting the people that are dragging down the whole movement.
Yeah, they are dragging down the movement.
They're out for their own good.
Let me tell you a story. So back in the 70s, the Black Panthers.
Yeah.
That was a hate group. The Black Panthers was a hate group.
Right. It's like the KKK.
Just like the KKK. Yeah. Exactly. Right. They were the black version of the KKK.
Correct.
But let me tell you something the government did, the CIA did, which is crazy. There's a book about it that Joe Rogan talks about on his podcast. It's so fascinating. I can't wait to read it. But essentially it breaks down how the CIA unraveled the Black Panther movement from the inside. They had people in there undermining what the Black Panther movement was doing. And in doing so, the Black Panthers became so paranoid about infiltration that they started turning on each other. Black Panthers started killing each other.
I think there's a documentary on that also.
Because they thought they were snitches.
Yeah.
And all it was the CIA planted these little bugs
in their ears.
In their ears to make them
think. And they're like, wait, what? Who's around me?
And essentially they unraveled it. Now let me tell you something about Antifa. Explain to me, how do Antifa people live? These people who are anti-fascist, anti-capitalism, how are they living? There's not some Antifa fund that's supporting them.
Yeah.
It's not like they're living in their vans on the countryside farming vegetables and shit for themselves.
Okay, where are you going with this?
They're paid. Antifa are paid. If it's not by the government, then it's definitely some right-wing organization.
Yeah.
Right wing? You said right wing.
Right wing. Let me tell you, that sounds weird, right?
Yeah, because I think it's left wing.
No, it could be. But think about this. Antifa right now are promoting destruction. There's videos online from these areas where protests are happening, where these Antifa, white people from Antifa, are coming in saying, hey, there's some stuff over here we can use to throw.
Yeah.
There's something over here we can destroy. Now let me tell you something.
But why do you say right wing?
How do
Because
you-
I've only seen left wing stuff.
How do you unravel something like the Black Lives Matter movement that's peaceful? That started peaceful. The riots in the beginning,
I know where you're going with
minus
this.
Minneapolis,
Yeah.
but a lot of the protests
yeah.
that sprouted up after George Floyd's murder were peaceful. How? Now put yourself in a radical right-wing person's. I'm this. I'm a Republican from Georgia, and I don't really like black people thinking that they have equal rights. Black people need to stay in the inner cities. They need to stay down. But
even
now all of a sudden,
even a hand over.
Now all of a sudden, there's all of this movement that's getting white people to support it, saying that something needs to change about black people being oppressed.
They do.
If I'm part of this right wing, and I'm making millions of dollars because I'm corrupt, how do I undermine the Black Lives Matter movement?
Hey, let's go.
I pay
black people to destroy shit.
These people that are willing for $10,000 a month, $100,000 a year
to go burn down a building.
To go tell other black people, hey, let's start looting.
Yeah.
Let's start destroying buildings. How do you unravel the Black Lives Matter movement? You do it from the inside with people they think they can trust.
Yeah.
People a part of the Black Lives Matter movement, you cannot trust Antifa. You cannot trust any white person coming into your movement that tells you to go destroy. Or
you know what? And that
comes
comes to the whole speech and that of Malcolm X saying that the most dangerous thing out there is a white liberal, because he compares them to a fox. And this is coming from Malcolm X because he already knows, because a conservative is considered a wolf. You know what the wolf is up to. Yeah. But a fox. Like how Malcolm X says is that he is no matter how he comes at you with a grin or showing his teeth, you think he's a smile, he's a friend. Yeah. And then he goes from the inside and does that. But he says the most dangerous person is a white liberal.
Yeah. I could not agree more. Biden, Hillary Clinton, all these other white Democratic
liberals,
there's a difference between a Democrat and a liberal. There is. Unfortunately,
there is. Definitely.
Unfortunately, the most people don't see the difference.
Yeah,
most
because it's all
you're Democratic.
You're liberal and you're progressive,
but it's not.
And you're a leftist, and there's all different.
You have 5 groups of people in this world, in the United States. The people in the middle, who are neither. They either see both sides. They see the advantages of both, or they don't agree with either. Yeah. Right. Then you have Republicans and Democrats. Then on the very edges of the scale are radical right wings and liberals. The radical
liberals, yeah.
Right. The liberals are radical Democrats.
But you know what? There's a bit difference between. They're actually another level, because there is a liberal, and then there's conservative, and then along that, I think it's right wing. Radical right wings, and then there's leftists. Right.
It ranges. You got warm, lukewarm, cold, room temp, cold, freezing.
Yes, correct.
Sub-zero.
I agree with you on that one. Yeah.
As you go out farther, the degree of radicalness increases. Till you get to these edges where you've got radical right wings and radical left wings, and so 100% right. People like Hillary Clinton, people like Joe Biden. They are wolves in sheep's clothing. They want. Let's go back to
or as Malcolm X was saying, foxes.
Let's go back to John F. Kennedy. When he was assassinated, Lyndon B. Johnson became president. Lyndon B. Johnson, a Democrat, was a known racist. He despised black people. But this is around the time when civil rights was occurring. Yeah. And he knew that he could not stop black people from becoming equal citizens, equal people. Coming up. So this is undocumented, but what is widely known is he knew the only way he could control black people was to keep them under his thumb, which was government assistance. Yep. Destroying inner cities, giving them welfare.
I'm giving you money. You listen to me.
Creating a dependency on the government within these inner cities, which is mostly minorities. Yep. So he created control over the minorities as a Democrat by destroying the inner cities with drugs, with lack of funding, and giving them welfare to rely on. And so that is how the Democratic Party has destroyed minorities in our country by destroying their communities, by releasing drugs. The government, and everyone knows the government has been putting drugs into the inner cities. Since drugs have been around.
Since day one.
Since day one.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So the Democratic Party for a long time has been working at destroying minorities in our country. But now all of a sudden, all these years later, now they're worried about building up black people.
Yeah.
Joe Biden has had 40 years as a Democrat
To do something.
And just now, 40 years later,
now he's like, oh, I've been
which, did you see the this is the fact that this hasn't blown up blows my mind. But there's a recording out there. You can look it up. I heard it myself. He says, he's talking about black people and Hispanics. And he said, unlike black people, with a notable exception, Hispanic people are known for a unique, diverse ways of thinking. So essentially what he said is,
wow, yeah.
Unlike black people, except for LeBron James and Oprah Winfrey,
yeah.
Hispanic people have a wide variety of thoughts.
Yeah.
Black people don't. They all think the same.
They're all the same. The same boat.
So tell me a man who's lived through civil rights when black people didn't have the right to vote, didn't have equal rights as us, who has been a part of why police are now a problem. How all of a sudden he's going
to he's gonna be president? How's that work?
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. If and when Joe Biden becomes president, you will see it get even worse.
Bad.
You will see it get even worse. Because
he said,
but honestly, you won't hear about it.
You won't.
Yeah.
You won't hear about it because it's all protection by them.
All you hear about is how thankful we are that Biden defeated Trump.
Yeah.
And Biden will go on. Now, what's going to happen is Joe Biden. He's obviously not he'll be the oldest president.
Yeah, he's old as fuck.
He would be the oldest president ever elected. What'll happen is
that's a mistake by itself.
6 months in, they will say Joe Biden is either dead, or they'll say he
can't do it.
He's mentally unstable and can't do this.
He has dementia.
At which point Kamala Harris would become president.
Yep.
Which really blows my mind because if they really wanted Kamala Harris to be the president, why didn't they just make her the Democratic nominee?
Yeah, exactly.
Back in the beginning. Now the Democratic Party boasted when they were deciding the people to vote for, they had this wide panel of a gay man, an Asian man, a black woman, a white woman, and anyways, they had this wide variety. They had a multiple black women that were running for it, and the whole idea was, look, the Democratic Party has this wide variety of people for us to choose from, but somehow it all got narrowed down to two old white men and now one old white man.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party had their choices between Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
They actually had a really good candidate. She was
Kamala Harris to me is a very bad choice.
She is. She has been a part of the police problem.
Exactly.
Joe Biden has been a part of government corruption for 40 years. Now, here's the problem: is they had a really good candidate. There was this black woman who was she was in the military before. So tell me, a black woman who's been a part of the military and still chooses to align herself with the Democratic Party, how she would not have been the best choice.
Yeah.
She would have been. She would have been the best choice to put out there for the Democratic nominee. She would have been. I would have voted for her.
Yeah.
I would have. But instead, now I'm forced to vote for Donald Trump because Joe Biden is literally the worst choice of the Democratic Party.
Oh yeah, definitely. So
part of the problem.
Okay, so let me read you something. This is something that I like to read certain quotes from past people because it's almost like they see the future. And these guys are so. And I'm gonna requote Malcolm X. He says, "The media is the most powerful entity on earth."
And back in that day, what was media?
They have the power. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and to make the guilty innocent.
Yep.
And that's power. Because they control the minds of the masses. Unquote. That is a literal quote from him.
And like you said, Mario,
so I mean,
all they have is Facebook.
Let me tell you something.
Instagram. That's all. That's their entertainment.
But that's the most. That's the most free. Yeah. That's the most free media. Mainstream media that we have. They have all the power because you know what? can you not rely on CNN? Can you not rely on
But nowadays, who watches
ABC, and all that stuff?
Young kids and new generation, who watches CNN? And
No, they don't. They do
go
Facebook.
on their Facebook,
But
and they
Facebook
go,
now is starting
and
to
they're like,
try to cancel you or fact check
But
you.
no, but only on one side.
Only on
Yes,
one side.
Only on one side.
One side
they
only.
are totally blocking out
this
the right.
this side,
Conservative
Anything-
views.
Anything the left has to say is fair game.
Yep.
But if it's something to do with the right, even if it's 100% factually
Yep.
true,
Oh yeah.
it's considered oppressive, so they
delete
disregard it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let me tell you
The
something,
facts
the
don't
difference-
care about your feelings.
Exactly, Jen Shapiro. Let me tell you something about the right and the left.
Yeah, correct.
The right is based on fact and reality. The left is based
what-
on fairy
feelings.
tales and rainbows.
feelings.
What
So-
it should be, what you think. Your
So
feelings
that's
is-
something about the left and the right. A big difference, and that is said, what the left does is what feels good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What feels good,
Yeah.
you know, and then what the right is what is good.
Yeah.
You know, the right
can
thing
be-
to
it can
do.
be harsh,
But the
but
thing
it-
is,
but it-
sometimes
But the truth hurts.
Yes,
the
it
truth
does.
Is harsh.
It's gonna be harsh.
they don't
but
care.
But they
It's
don't
the-
care.
yeah.
The left, whenever you bring up facts, they then bring up their feelings.
Yeah.
They then bring up their feelings.
No, don't do that.
If you ever watch Ben Shapiro and you start to see where he'll debate with people, when the left people on the left decide to start arguing with him, they get emotional.
Oh,
Yeah.
most super
And
emotional.
Ben Shapiro never lets his emotions affect what he's talking
Yeah.
about. He never brings up emotions. It's not about how I feel. It is about what is the
What is-
truth.
yeah.
But that's the problem about media. Who watches the media? Old people.
Yes.
And
Well,
who-
here, like cable, TV, CNN.
So old people
Old
watch
people.
the news.
Yes.
And they're the ones that vote the most.
And they're the ones
yes.
that vote the most.
Yes, exactly.
And they're the ones that vote the most. Now let me tell you something. Media is now a weapon.
It is.
Media
big
is a weapon.
The hugest.
It's the hugest. Now let me tell you what has up until like the last for the last 20 years, except for the last 3 or 5 years, what has the media done? It has portrayed black people as criminals.
Yes.
Minorities.
Oh
as
my gosh, that is
criminals.
so true.
So that
To the
has
most,
created
to the
a
most.
fear
Yeah.
amongst white people.
White people like.
And
Don't
again,
trust him.
who watches media? Who watches news?
Old
people, and mostly old white people.
Yep.
And so for the last 20 years, our media has
been
scared the
portrayed.
shit
There's
out
a
of
whole
old white
doc.
people.
I forgot what the name is. It's on Netflix. Whole documentary about it.
It's become a weapon.
It's
It is
crazy.
a weapon. And the best thing we can do.
The news,
You know what's
always.
gonna, the
Drug
thing is,
dealers,
what's
young
gonna
black
change?
kids.
You know what's going to change though is our generation.
Yeah.
Our generation knows the news is not trustworthy.
Yeah.
Our parents and our grandparents don't know yet. Our parents a little bit, but our grandparents do not know that the
'Cause they already-
news.
yeah.
Because they have grown up their whole lives
One thing.
with
there.
the news being how
In their
they
head.
learned about things.
Yep.
We have grown up with our
Multiple.
phones, with we know who we can trust and
Yeah.
who we cannot.
And it's different races, and this me and you.
But you and I both know
yeah.
that the anonymous group. You know the anonymous group, the ones that wear the mask.
Yeah, yeah.
We know that we
Yeah.
can trust most of what they say
Yeah.
because they have nothing. There's no monetary value in
And-
what they do. But the news, it's all
It's
about
just
money.
money,
If
yeah.
money drives what you are doing, you are not trustworthy.
Yeah.
Doctors get benefits from prescribing certain medications. You cannot trust your doctor
If he's making money off of
if
giving you
if
this.
he's making money on giving you one type of
Something,
medicine
yes.
over another,
Yeah.
because he's not giving you the best medicine, he's giving you the medicine that makes him the most money.
Yep.
So that is the problem with the news, with doctors, is it's all based on money.
Money.
That's
the
why
whole
the
world.
news
That's
only
the whole
plays
world.
what is going to make them money.
Money.
Okay,
What's
so
gonna benefit me?
look. So here's a big thing about like this isn't what AOC said. I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
Yeah. All right.
So
yeah.
that's something that I guess Democrats or left or progressive is like they're more interested in being morally right than actually being facts.
Than being
Yeah,
fact-
being
Facts.
correct.
Being
Yeah,
correct.
Be correct.
what feels right,
And
rather
it
than
gets
what
it
is
is
right.
getting
Correct.
worse. And it's getting worse.
And
It
the,
is
fact,
getting
the
worse.
problem is these people we have, like AOC, how is she qualified to be a politician? What is Joe Biden's qualifications to be a politician?
Yeah.
Being
What
there
are-
for 40 years. He's been
Yeah,
there for 40
yeah,
years.
Here's the problem is
exactly.
They have made careers
Out of
being
it.
politicians.
And you know what? Something about Donald Trump that I admire. Okay, look, I'm gonna say this that I did not start getting into politics until he came into office. Why? I don't know. It's just something about how proud he is about being an American and how he wants to run this country and everything. Like it fueled something in me to just be getting into this
because
stuff.
you can get behind someone who, one, has your best interest as an American in mind, and also has no benefit from being a politician.
Nothing. He actually loses more.
He was
Exactly.
yeah,
He
loses money.
loses more
Because
because
he'd be spending this time focusing on his
His business. And he
But
came in
instead-
a billionaire already.
Exactly.
He don't need money.
He does not need.
and you know
money
what?
to come
And
from.
something that I do respect is that every single time he's kept his promises with the whole like every single dime he makes for this stuff, he cannot accept anything. But when he accepts it, he immediately donates it to a cause. His most recent one is to fix the damaged monuments that got damaged by these protests.
Yeah.
Did he have to do that?
And the
No,
thing
but
is,
he donated his money,
let me tell
his
you
own
why.
money,
Yeah.
$100,000.
Yeah.
Now, during this Democratic nomination convention that just happened, where they said, "Hey, Biden's going to be our nominee for president," Republicans spoke out against Donald Trump. Now, let me tell you, there's only one reason why your own party would turn on you like this. Because what has Trump done other than saying insensitive things? That is a
Being
real
himself.
thing. Aside from saying
Like I
insensitive
said, facts
things,
don't care about your feelings.
Aside from saying insensitive things, what has he done that has been so bad?
Nothing.
Other than what he has said,
Nothing.
verbally said,
I don't
what
see
has he
anything.
done?
Nothing.
Now, why else would Republicans turn on him?
So
Because he is threatening the way of life
For
of
them.
politicians
Yeah, for them.
Yeah,
who
he
have
is.
benefited from the misfortune
Yeah.
of Americans
him being a
who
president,
have taken taxpayer money
Mhm.
for their own benefit,
Yeah.
not
Because-
to make the world a better place.
Like he even said it too on one of his things. I heard him say it. I can't repeat it verbatim, but he said like, when I knew coming into this, I was gonna lose half of my
profits.
income.
Yeah.
Knowing coming into this, I was gonna lose half because
For-
he's being and I don't know, optimistic or something, but he's gonna lose half because like let's say there's half are gonna be Republicans
of his
supporting him,
pockets, yeah.
and then half is gonna be Democrats because honestly, Democrats and Republicans will go to his real estate and like go to Trump Tower and then like get rent from there and stuff.
They vilify
So-
him, and they have.
So
they have
now he's
plans to
losing
make-
half.
Yeah.
He is a person that did not need this position at all. And I know people say that like, oh, he just wanted to boost his
ego,
ego.
yeah.
There you go.
But-
yeah,
Which
do
could
it,
be
yeah.
true. Which
It
could be
could
true.
be
It
true.
could even be a
You know, like
percentage of it.
slightly,
Yeah.
slightly true.
It
Yeah,
could
you're
even
like,
be
hey, I
25%.
was a
Yeah, he'd be
president.
like, yeah, I'm the president.
Yeah.
Because
you know.
he's big on tooting his own horn.
Yeah. But
and he
look
could
at
be
his
a narcissist.
policies.
But how many people? Let me tell you, when you start to get up into the upper half of the United States, when you start talking about managers, CEOs, owners, what do a lot of them? Narcissists.
Yeah. They
So if
love
we're
to-
going to vilify Trump for being a narcissist, if that's the biggest knock on him, then how about we start inspecting the CEOs of a lot of these big giant corporations?
Yeah.
How about we start? You're telling me Nancy Pelosi's not a narcissist?
Oh, she's definitely a
that Adam
narcissist.
Schiff is not narcissistic. That AOC is not narcissistic. That what's the other one? Omar.
They're
They're all
They're all
narcissists.
like that. Okay, so with that aside, he didn't have to do it. He could have let whatever president come in. It could have been, anything. He's making money. He doesn't need our fucking money.
Yeah,
he doesn't
yeah.
need government money.
Yeah,
he would be making more money if he
he
was
was running his own
president.
business.
Because
Yeah.
not only, think about how his business.
It's not about money for him.
Think
It's
about how his businesses have suffered since he has become
Big-
president.
Oh my
Because
God.
The Democratic Party has drug his name through the mud, and now the people who have normally, you're talking NBA,
Yeah.
NFL, and baseball players who stayed at Trump Towers that no longer are because they don't want to be
They don't.
associated.
Yeah.
No.
Be a
Imagine
part
if
of
the
it.
New York Yankees went to another Trump Tower, stayed in Trump Towers before a baseball game, or let's say the Los Angeles Lakers go to play the Knicks
Yeah.
and they stay in Trump Tower.
How many?
They would be killed over doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now
Yep.
the Lakers, who probably would have spent $100,000 on
Stay-
one night
yeah,
stay
one night,
in Trump
yep.
Tower, are no longer staying there.
Yep.
So he has cost himself business and future business.
And
Because
for
if-
what? For what? What is he doing it for? Ego? Is that
because
ego
he
that big?
cares about America.
Yes.
Exactly.
I would still like to see him go like hardcore go after these motherfuckers because they're hardcore going after him.
Yeah.
I want to see him investigate Hillary Clinton, who has left hundreds, if not thousands, of people dead in her wake.
Yep.
There are, if you go and start looking back at the history of Hillary Clinton,
Exactly.
there are thousands of people dead because of Hillary Clinton and her lies.
Yep.
A picture just came out of Bill Clinton getting massage from one of Jeffrey Epstein's children victims from his little sex island. Now, a concern I have of Donald Trump is that his name is mentioned with Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay.
And he is.
Well, Epstein was a big man. He was around everywhere.
Now let's say Trump is involved in it, which I hope he is not, because I respect him as an American. I don't respect him as a man.
Yeah.
I respect him as an American.
Yeah.
I respect what
he's doing,
trying to do as the president. But if he is any way involved in this shit,
he needs to go
I
down.
Hope all these motherfuckers burn at the cross.
Yep.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
I have no room in my heart for pedophilia.
Okay, so
or mercy for pedophiles.
Yeah.
Look, honestly, when I heard the first time I heard that he was, involved with Jeffrey Epstein, that they were friends and everything,
Friends or whatever.
it was.
It could be a friend or a friend.
When I was reading up on it, they had a fallout like about 10 years ago, or like even more than that. I don't know how long they had a fallout for, but it was over it was over real estate. Okay, I don't know how much of it is true, but I mean, like, pretty much it just had a fallout. Like, he hasn't dealt with them for like over 10 years, 15 years.
I'm not willing to just accuse them. I believe in innocence before being proven guilty.
Yeah.
You need to be able to prove someone's guilty.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're just talking about witch hunt.
But you know what? Nobody has ever said anything about. They said that they were friends, but that's it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
as
big as Epstein was, of course he's gonna meet other big people.
Right.
Like
Right.
Trump,
Like who would you know? I mean,
there's pictures of him probably shaking people's hands.
I mean, I wouldn't know you killed somebody. Somebody killed
If
somebody.
you ever watched the Netflix show, the Netflix documentary Dirty Money, in one of the episodes they talk about Malaysia.
Okay.
That's Jalen.
They talk about Malaysia. And in Malaysia,
we talked about this.
Yeah. And
About
in
the
Malaysia, they were siphoning money from taxpayers in order to pay for lavish lifestyle. The guy who was the kind of the stockbroker of this money laundering, he was smooching it with celebrities all over the United States. So does that mean every celebrity is guilty of money laundering?
This goes big man meet other big men.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When
Not everybody's guilty until they're proven guilty.
Now the concerning part to me is what I heard that concerned me about that relationship was that Trump was on flight logs. That's the whole thing. It's not about association. It's those flight logs. If you were going over to this little island, they call Little James.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah.
If you're a part of those flight logs, that means you knew what was going on that fucking island.
Had to.
And whether you partook or not, knowing that is guilty by association.
Yeah.
So what concerns me about Trump is that there is enough doubt in my mind of him being a part of this elite Illuminati world order that concerns me. Because yes, is he worried about America? Yes, he's got America first. But is he a part of this problem, this elite problem that I call? And that's what concerns me with any of these people. Because
you probably never know either.
We would know if we stopped vilifying whistleblowers. If Trump really cared about exposing the deep state and the Illuminati and this new world order, he would pardon Edward Snowden, who is wanted for treason in the United States because he exposed the Obama administration spying on American citizens. It's not that of the secrets he exposed. It's just that he exposed what the government was government corruption. Because those documents were classified. Edward Snowden is wanted for treason because he exposed documents. Not what he exposed, but just because he did it. So if Trump cared about exposing the truth, he would pardon Edward Snowden.
Okay, so here's another thing about Trump. He did he's investing more money or funding more money into child trafficking. Okay, so I mean, like, what kind of person would?
If he's a part of it, why would he fund it? Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Why would he fund it even more?
I'm telling you, when this shit keeps getting swiped under, this freaking were you here when I showed you Netflix Cuties?
Yeah, I was.
It's right there.
It is.
It is literally
in front of everybody's face.
In front of everyone's face.
Everybody's face.
We're holding no
And
one
just ignoring it.
accountable.
It's
You're
hiding.
Like, the Wayfair.
Hiding in
Can
plain
you
sight.
believe the Wayfair thing is already not being talked about anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not,
You
we're
read
done.
that, right?
Yeah, it's already done.
It's a week after. No one's talking about
Disappeared.
it. No one is talking about it. It literally gets pedophilia is right in front of our faces. Yet
Don't do nothing about it.
There's no
But it was
outcry about
but it was a glitch in the freaking software.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's why the SKUs matched cases of missing children. That's why the name associated with the SKU and the product were the names of that missing child.
Yeah, exactly.
And it just got swept.
It just happens to be coincidence.
Jeffrey Epstein gets murdered. Maxwell, I'm telling you, she's right there. Before she gets a chance to expose
To
anyone,
say something,
she's gonna
you
be
could be
murdered
dead. Dead in the water.
She's on suicide watch.
too. Of course, the moment she got put in there, she was on suicide watch. I thought, oh, she's dead too.
Yeah, she's dead too.
I can't believe she's still alive.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if she was dead and it just hadn't been announced.
Yeah.
They could have a fucking robotic clone take her spot, which is a real thing. We'll get into that another day. But robotic clones is a real thing. There are robots walking amongst us.
Okay, now you're getting a
The
little
real
bit
person's
farther.
dead.
Just wait till the
there's a
first
robot.
time someone records it on like Facebook or Instagram Live.
See some
of a robot getting
magical-
ran over by a car and robot
Come-
parts just. Now here's the thing. Tell me, do you think it's unrealistic that they could create a robot that has blood, tissue,
the whole thing.
a skeleton?
I don't know if you guys watching Netflix.
I don't know, dude. That's a little bit too much.
Do you think
That's
You
too much.
You never watched
That's
that
too
shit?
much
Oh,
for me right
I
now.
just finished it.
Is it a stretch? Yes.
It
But
is
are
a
you
stretch.
saying there is a 0% chance?
No. There's
I mean,
not-
it's already a
There's
movie.
always a chance.
There's always.
There's always a
Let
chance.
me put this
but
to you. Let me give you a mind fuck before we wrap this up.
don't do that because.
Let me give you a mind fuck. Do you think?
And we'll talk about it later.
But the Epstein files. Yeah, the Epstein files. I can't wait for all of that stuff to come out. Hi, Y7J503001X.
Thank you for coming on. It's awesome.
Is it a he or she?
Make sure to
Or a
follow,
robot?
Make sure to give us a follow. At 100 followers, we're giving away a free hat, your choice, from lids.com. Make sure to check out their hats. They got a sale going on right now. But the mindfuck I want to give you guys before we go to my last segment. In 10,000 years, in the next 10,000 years, do you think it's possible a scientist could make in a small petri dish a universe?
Yes.
With living
100%.
organisms?
I talk about this all the time.
How do you know? How do you know that
How
we're
do you
not?
know that
We're not a marble
How do you
In
know-
somebody's fucking
How-
jar.
How do you know that we're not?
We're not that.
That we're not
Exactly.
that? If
Somebody
it's-
created
If
us.
it's possible that we could do it in the next 10,000 years,
How do you
that
know we're not?
How do you know
Exactly.
that we're not part of a reality show right now?
In somebody's little
These
in their
aliens,
room.
These 8
Oh,
armed
look at my universe I
aliens,
made.
purple aliens are watching us have
Yeah.
a little laugh about how we're letting the elite kidnap
Yeah,
our
yeah.
children to do unspeakable
Watching
horror to
everything
them,
play out.
watching us fight amongst races, while all these purple people are like, man, we don't got none of that fucking problem. We're all purple people.
Man.
Y7J503001X5F17.
Robot,
What's the problem you want us to discuss? They said they'll follow if we discuss a problem they're having. This is a bot that's about to say something racist, which I've had in this thing before. I will block you. Fair warning. I had a bot come in. They said, hey, and then they used the N-word. They said, do you hate N-word? But it blocked it out because obviously.
Yeah.
And so I immediately just blocked him. I figured it was someone I knew trying to see what I
Fuck
would
around,
do.
yeah.
But whatever, I blocked them immediately. Okay, so last segment of the show. I really want to do this again next Sunday.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even get into half
didn't
the
even
shit I
scratch
wanna
it.
talk about.
Bro,
Didn't
we're
even-
like, this is pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Well,
just talking.
This is what I dreamed of doing. This is exactly what I
If-
dreamed
if-
of
We'll
doing.
get Rafa next week.
even if we have like 1, 2
I said, we'll get
followers,
you on
we'll
next
just
week.
fucking like.
The first time we did this, we went 3 hours, and the only reason we stopped because
This podcast is talking about world
We
problems.
started talking at night. We had to stop.
Everything going
on a
on.
Sunday.
I love this.
People
You know
watch
what's so
and stuff and
awesome about this is like,
comment and talk
what,
and-
isn't this diversity? We have
A white, a Mexican, and a black.
Exactly.
Technically, I'm not a Mexican. I'm American.
It's not 3 white dudes
But wait,
sitting around
you're
stroking
American
the
and you're
window.
American.
Yeah.
That's all I see. All I see is
Where's
American.
I see one.
I
color.
see American.
I just see gray.
I'm like colorblind and stuff. I don't see that
Oh,
shit.
it's the satchel.
The thing is
Let me go take that.
What do you say? Read it out loud. Read it out.
Just call me Y7. All right, Y7. Hold on 1 sec. Let me read this.
What he said? What he said? I'm gonna look at what he said.
Speaking to this girl right now, a few years younger than me, pretty hard in school. They made an account in her name, followed her family, and uploaded nudes of other girls on there. School won't do anything. Parents won't do anything. Help. Absolutely not. If this girl is underage and you're not, that my first bit of advice is don't. It's not worth prison. That is my number one. If you're both underage and people are uploading nudes of underage women,
That is a crime.
I would call police because that is child pornography. No matter if they're 17 years old and 364 days. Not underage, not from the U.S. Okay, so school. Okay, we said school. Are we talking about college here?
What's
They made accounts in her name and followed her family and uploaded nudes of other girls there. The school won't do anything. The parents won't do anything.
Oh, that's drama.
Well, you say you're not underage, but we're talking about parents in a school here. So either you're not being truthful or we're talking about college.
What?
I definitely think that physical violence will make this situation worse. You're definitely in a tricky situation. If you guys are not underage, I mean, if you guys are adults, if you're both adults, I really don't know what kind of advice to give you other than getting police involved. If someone is sending nudes to you unsolicited, I gotta imagine that is sexual harassment. Although, of course, it depends on what country you're in. If you're in Mexico, you probably could go shoot them up right now with no consequences. If you are in a European country,
Where are they? What?
well, they say they're not underage and not in the U.S. I feel like I'm not getting the whole story here, Y7. I hope you're typing right now because I feel like I'm going crazy just talking to myself about this. But if you're not underage, this is not high school.
So it must be college? Is it
I
college?
think you were looking at it from a legal. I am thinking about it from a legal point of view. I don't think that putting yourself at risk of going to jail or prison is worth it. If you feel the only answer is violence, then I guess you got to go with your gut feeling. But you're telling me you're not underage, you're not in the U.S. Really, what country? I mean, if you're telling me you're in Mexico, y'all can do whatever the fuck you want down there. I'm not joking. I'm not being facetious.
Yeah,
I know what's going on right now in Mexico. It's the fucking wild, wild west. Go shoot those motherfuckers up if that's what you feel you have to do. I don't think violence is the answer, though, because if you're in Mexico, they might be able to retaliate.
Yeah.
So, better to hide the truth than to cover it. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for me to give you an answer you want to hear, then tell me what the answer is, and maybe I'll tell you what you want to hear, but in civilized places like the United States and a lot of European countries, in some, Asian countries, and getting the police involved is your best avenue.
Yeah.
That is sexual harassment.
If you're willing to,
But if you're asking me to give you permission to go be violent, I'm not giving you permission.
right?
You don't
There
need
is
permission.
there's no reason why to be violent.
It's not
If you
worth
really
going
want to
to
do
jail.
this the
I thought
right
y'all
way
wanted
and
to
actually have it to
report
stop,
to their house every day.
go to the
You gotta
police.
report
Hey,
it,
listen,
yeah.
okay, that is a very good point. Both of those points.
What'd he say?
Y7 says he's thought about options of ordering pizza to their houses every day or involving social services. Let me tell you something.
Say what?
Let me tell you something. If you think that kind of, justice is what served, ordering pizza to their house every day, I think that's hilarious. And I think that's a great idea. Involving social services, yeah. But I mean, you just said you're not underage, so I don't know that social services is going to do anything, man.
Wow.
I don't think violence is the answer. But again, if you feel violence is your only option, who am I to tell you how to feel?
Yeah.
Right,
You
right.
know?
Thing is, what you're recommending is
when
not
I'm-
violence.
when
Is not, to me, violence is
Not
never
the
the
answer.
answer.
When I've had either a girlfriend or someone close to me be in trouble,
yeah.
and I have felt where violence is the only option. So I get where you're coming from, but as being someone who's outside of the situation now and looking back on those situations, it wasn't the answer, and it only where I live, the
prolonged it
concept
or
of
made
underage
it
is
worse.
not as big as in the U.S. So, Y7, can you tell me exactly where you are? Because if you can tell me what country you're in, then
We
maybe
have a
I
bigger
can,
opinion.
I can maybe
Yeah.
I can I can give you some advice. If you are hailing from Mexico or Africa, then you could probably take matters into your own hands. But if you are in China or Japan or a European country that's
Violence is never the answer,
violence
though.
is probably not a good option.
Never the answer. Violence is never the
Sweden-
answer.
Okay, so in Sweden, the legal age of consent is 15 years.
Oh,
Nothing really
shit.
matters. Okay, so
Is
with that
she-
said, I don't know what Sweden's laws on exposing a child to nudity
Yeah.
is. I gotta imagine that the police would have a problem with that, especially in a country like Sweden.
Yeah.
So if you honestly feel
So if
That's- you're
I
in
don't
danger
think
and
violence
stuff.
answer. You live in a civilized country where you will face consequences if you
Do something
bring
stupid.
violence onto them. But if you think you can do it without getting in trouble, knock yourself out. If that is your only option, knock yourself out. But I definitely like your idea better of psychological warfare, which is ordering pizzas at their house every day for the rest of their life. Or ordering a bag of dicks, which is a real thing. It is a gummy bear bag of dicks that you can have delivered to their house. Or if you want to go put a flaming pile of shit on their door,
Yeah. Old school way.
old school way, then yes, I think you're onto something there.
But wait. So what's the thing here? Like some other
Yeah,
person?
so his girlfriend's getting bullied at school, and he says that they've made accounts in her name, followed her family, and uploaded nudes of other girls on there. I'm assuming they're trying to make it seem like she is.
She is, yeah.
Wait. She is doing what? She's the one posting the
Do you think
stuff?
physical violence will make them stop because it might just. I mean, listen. I don't think you inciting the violence is going to help. But if you can find like a biker gang to go and intimidate these people, let me tell you something. At least about biker gangs in the United States, they don't take bullying very
Right.
lightly.
Yeah.
So if you find a biker gang that
If you find a Hell's Angel out there,
this is Sweden, so I don't know what kind of gangs you got out there. But if you find someone that can go in and intimidate them, I think that's a viable option. But getting yourself into legal trouble over something like this, I don't think
gonna be
it's
worth it. Yeah. So he might be.
it will make issues worse.
He might be
not only for
15 or
yourself, but maybe
16
for them.
then, because
Well,
he's legal age
I don't know,
out
he
there
says-
at 15.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
So-
Violence is not the answer. Dad worked for HA when he was younger. Yes. HA. My dad worked for Hell's Angels when he was younger.
Oh
Yes,
shit!
I don't think- Well, listen, I'm not saying you should have your dad go try and jump back in the game, but
Real quick.
if you can find someone.
But does your dad have
to
buddies?
Intimidate these people on her behalf. I think you might be on something there. All right, we're Y7. If you want to
Closing
continue
out.
this conversation next Sunday, that's fine. We've been at this for about 3 hours now, so we're gonna wrap this up. But I wanted to talk about Satchel Paige. Satchel Paige is a pitcher born
Way back in the day.
1906.
Ooh.
Although
Ralph, you know about that?
Ralph,
1906.
you remember Satchel Paige, right? No. All right.
Oh, he's the old school Ralph.
My first,
He'll tell you.
when I first discovered Satchel Paige, I was playing MLB something for the PlayStation 1, and
Okay.
I unlocked Satchel Paige.
2003?
Yeah, probably.
2003?
And Satchel Paige was throwing like 100 miles an hour, and I was like, "What? Who the hell is Satchel Paige?" So I did some research and absolutely fell in love with this guy, Satchel Paige. Officially born 1906. That's what the birth certificate says. But reports say that he could have been born anywhere between 1900 and 1908. Satchel Paige played.
We restored this
Well,
table.
how I'd first like to start
Oh, shit.
this off talking about Satchel Paige is
Sit
that
down.
unfortunately he
Sit
never got
down.
the opportunity
Do
to
everything.
be a part of
See how
a
it
lot of
has
the
like
record
the-
books
the
being
dark
born black. He
blade
played during a
and
time where
the
black
light.
players were not
Yeah, we
allowed
restored
to
this table.
play
higher.
with white people,
Oh,
and
I'll
so
have you guys over.
it's estimated that he threw approximately 50 no-hitters in his lifetime, which would probably be a major league record.
Yes.
He was throwing, they estimate, in the upper 90s to 100 miles per hour in the 1920s.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Unheard of. He was considered unhittable. He played in the Negro Leagues from 1924 to 1947.
Negro, huh?
He routinely had infielders
Wow.
sit down while he pitched and would strike out the side. Would tell his infielders to sit down.
Wow.
There's a story.
Wait. What?
So
What do
He
you
would
wait,
tell
wait,
he would tell his infielders, sit down, I got this, and then he would strike them out. They wouldn't hit a single ball in a play.
Like
there's-
infielders, as in like just people out there
the
already.
fielders, yeah, the field, it's fielders.
Oh.
to baseball,
Sit
you
down.
got infielders.
That-
What a gangster.
Hey, I don't know how much arrogance that takes.
The thing is,
But-
to back it up though.
But he
Yeah,
could back
To
it up.
There was another
Fuck.
story where he had like a 3-run lead. He gave up 2 runs, got 2 runners on, and he started stomping around the mound. He was pissed off at himself, and the fans started booing him. The other players were laughing at him. So he told all his outfielders to come in. He made all his fielders sit down in the infield. Struck out the last batter. Dude's a legend. Okay.
Wow. I wonder if there's a documentary on that.
So it'd be interesting. The thing is, this
Wow.
is 1920, so there's
Yeah,
not even like
way
film
back
on
in
this
the
shit.
day, yeah.
Oh
So
my
he played in
gosh.
the Negro League from 1924 to 1947. He was signed by the Cleveland Indians and was the first black pitcher in the American League
Wow.
and the first Negro League player to pitch in the World Series in 1948, winning a World Series with the Cleveland Indians.
Wow.
He played his last pro baseball game in 1966, so that would have put him at 60
60-something.
years old.
Yeah.
And it was in like what would
Shoot.
now be considered a semi-pro league, but it
Yeah.
was still considered pro back then.
Wow.
Backstory on Satchel Paige. He was not born Satchel Paige. He was born
Honestly, like just
Leroy
hearing.
Robert Page. Now there's rumors on how he got the name Satchel. The first was that something about him, the way he carried something was like a book. But his best friend, childhood best friend, said he gave him the nickname because he stole some lady's purse, and so he got this name Satchel. Paige.
Satchel.
So he went to reform school at 12 years old, where he would stay there until he was almost 18 years old, and where Reverend Moses Davis taught all the boys there baseball.
I need. We're doing this. You're on camera. Say hi.
In 1928,
Where?
he started being rented out as a game-by-game pitcher. The owner of the team would rent him
Just
out.
rent him out to other
for one
teams?
game to other teams. He was so good that he would rent them out for one game, where he would keep some of the money and the owner would keep some of the money.
Wow.
And which nowadays,
I don't.
the idea of renting a player is unheard of. That never
Right.
happens. You don't rent players out for one
Hell
game.
no, you don't.
Now, some soccer clubs will rent out a player for like a season
Yeah.
because their season's down the drain. So, this never happens nowadays. So even back then, I mean, it's a pretty crazy idea.
Wow.
His debut with the Indians, Cleveland Indians, was in 1948 at 42 years old. So we were robbed of Satchel Paige being a part of Major League Baseball because he was born black.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so
Because of that. Yeah.
He was the oldest. I think he holds the record for the oldest age debut of a Major League player.
Man,
And
that's
he
crazy.
signed his last Major League Baseball contract in 1965 at the age of 59 years old, where he pitched for one game.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
amazing, like what people can do and,
Yeah.
and everything.
And
like
unfortunately,
humans
a
are
lot of
so
this-
amazing.
Unfortunately, a lot of this stuff is legend because one, he was black, so he played in the Negro Leagues,
Yep.
which had even less coverage,
Yep.
less records.
No
than
one even
Major
minded
League
that. They're
Baseball
like,
players.
it's like
But
practice.
the time, anyways, there's
Yeah.
Babe Ruth pointed his shot, but again, that's legend. No one ever has.
Yeah.
It's talked about, but it's not proven.
Yep.
So it's unfortunate that the time he played in, but also we were,
Wow.
the people were robbed because he was born black that they
You
didn't
couldn't
actually
witness
see
it.
the greatness
Yeah, couldn't
of
witness
Satchel
it.
Paige.
You know,
And
it-
he might have gone down as the best pitcher of all
Yeah.
time. Which
It-
it's widely regarded that he's one of the best pitchers of all time, but he might have been the most physically gifted pitchers of all time.
Especially way back in that day,
Yeah.
what were they throwing? Maybe 60, 70?
They're probably throwing like 80, 85.
It's you know what? It's pretty awesome that how I'm gonna say American or black, white, Mexican or Latino or anything like that.
Watching.
Like it's awesome that like how American history. I'm not gonna put a color in front of it, but American history has evolved,
Dude.
and gone through us. Because no matter what color you are, you're still an American.
The strange thing
You're
is,
still living a certain
like,
dream,
100 years
and
from
you're still
now,
doing something.
We're gonna be part of his the
That's-
things that
yeah.
are
History,
accomplished
right.
Oh,
now.
and we're old people.
Are gonna be-
We're gonna look back at this time.
Yeah.
The
Right.
pandemic of
Yeah.
2020.
Oh my gosh!
We're
Every
looking at this. Like,
this
what?
is, this is
I also
gonna be
think,
looked
like,
at
what
as
did
a
they look
joke.
at? Being born in the 1900s, what did
Right.
they look back as their
I don't know,
history?
Imagine seeing the first car.
they're
Right? That
evolving.
first car. There's people alive now
That
were-
scene,
that-
a car.
the first car.
And now they got a Tesla.
And I don't,
TV,
now
first
you have
color TV. The first
Yeah.
first time. we
Well,
went
that's
to
great.
space.
That's great.
the first
She's
co-
like, I'll never.
the
born
first
with you.
computer.
She said
That was pretty
my
much the
grandma,
size.
The
Well,
first
the first
time she had a
computer.
cell phone, she was like fucking.
Rooms, a server
50
took
years
an
old.
entire room.
Yeah,
One computer to process math problems took up an entire
whole room.
Now we have calculators that are the size of nothing.
We have the internet at our
At
freaking
fingertips.
So
fingertips.
think 100 years from now.
The
Where
thing
would we
is,
be at?
if
That's
if
crazy.
we don't find unity,
We will go back.
Imagine if we were unified as a race, as a human race, since the beginning of time.
Oh, we would be even more
How
advanced now.
How advanced we could be.
Far.
We could be driving our cars in the sky in outer space right now.
We're so busy fighting each other.
We're so busy fighting each other, and we're so busy allowing the elite to squeeze
Right.
the profits.
What we know.
Tell me how the $200 billion they've made just since March benefits the human race.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's Jeff Bezos being able to afford another mega yacht.
Yep.
It's Warren Buffett being able to afford, the next underage woman.
I'm not gonna talk shit about Elon Musk. I love that guy.
I
know,
do too.
I love
Elon Musk is a real one.
Oh no, he's
Elon
real.
Musk is a real one.
He's real.
And he's one that also cares about. He's one of the first people to tell you a college education is no that it, that
Oh,
it is,
it's not known.
that it is not the only way to be successful.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
He doesn't say that it's not necessary. He just says that it is not essential to success.
So the whole thing.
Because he
Maybe
knows-
we should talk about that next
because
time
he
about like
knows-
college education versus non-college
But
education.
think about,
that's a big
but
one. I
think-
love that one.
Think about a college education, and think about how much.
Well,
You know what Elon Musk talked recently about is how pointless grade school is now.
Wait.
Grade school, when schools became schools, which is where they taught math, English, science, blah blah blah, that was created during a time where we were focused on industrial factory work.
Yeah.
So you needed people to
Get 'em
understand
used
basic
to
math, basic
bells,
English. We're not
whistles,
talking about that anymore.
discipline.
We're not talking about that anymore. Our school system is not catered to people being able to go on and be successful. We're still in this factory mindset, where we're creating factory workers, and that's not what our country is right now.
You know, something that I would love to see in schools that they kind of like winged around out of, or like kind of came out of the schools, is we should still have home ec.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, honestly, okay,
but
me
a real
personally.
home ec, what was your home ec like? Because my home ec was a fucking joke.
Okay, so my home ec, it was a joke too, but I never. I mean, I can't say really it was a joke too. No, it was a joke. So because
was it a joke or not?
at the age of 25, I didn't know how to do my own laundry.
Yeah.
I only knew how to make sandwiches.
Write a check.
Balance
a checkbook.
No, I didn't know how to fucking
Finances? Balance your
No,
finances?
no, I didn't know any of that
What?
stuff.
I learned that from
How
my
to
grandma.
how
That's where I learned
to
that from.
sew a button that's come off? How to-
Exactly.
sew a button?
But all that
how
stuff
to
is.
patch a pair of pants?
Yeah, pair of pants.
Because let me tell you
I never
something.
took home ec, but I learned that from
A lot of
this old lady over here.
But imagine had you not had it.
Yeah,
I know,
exactly. I'll
and
be
a lot of the
fighting.
kids
I didn't
nowadays
have-
don't know that.
They don't. None of it.
The only thing I knew as far as like how to be an adult was stuff I learned from my grandma. Had it not been for my grandma, I would have known even less.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately because of the breakdown of the family unit in the United States.
Yeah.
How high the divorce rate is becoming, how high the single motherhood rate is becoming.
We should probably talk about that in the next
We
one.
should.
How you grew up, how I grew up, and how he
Yeah,
grew
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Because it's so different.
It's different.
Elon
It's so
Musk
different.
is a real one, and what he talks about is very true. And what's wrong with this country, and what's wrong with our education system? We keep convincing kids that they need to take on life or debilitating debt in order to get a college degree.
Yeah,
that does not guarantee them a job. I tell a lot of the young people that I meet right now, take the NAVAIR classes up at the college. For a year to 2 years, you will have a job on base, and by the time you are 21, you will buy your first house, and it will be a nice house.
Bro, I wish I knew that. I wish I knew that when I was that, because you know what?
Trades are suffering.
I started going to school for linguistics.
They want to go and get like liberal arts.
Liberal arts for what?
Trades are suffering, and you make
Because
money
they
in the
think-
trades.
They think that they're gonna run a art show.
They think they're gonna all be Trump.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they all think that they're gonna come up with the next best idea. That they're gonna invent the new wheel. And for a lot of people,
now.
it's never gonna happen. And these
There's
people with
guys
liberal arts
inventing
degrees-
apps.
The thing is, we're short on tradesmen.
Yeah.
We're short on
Big time.
Short on tradesmen.
No one wants to pick up a wrench nowadays.
No, they don't.
They don't even know what a wrench is.
They'll pay
We're short
for
on
someone else.
We're short
Yeah.
on heavy machinery operators.
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
All that.
Makes
Crazy. Yeah.
But why? But why do they make crazy money? Because there's a shortage.
Shortage.
And unfortunately, we have too many people trying to get the moment someone tells me they're going to college to get a business degree, I immediately know they're going down the wrong path.
Yeah.
Because 99% of the people I know that have gone to school for business
So wait.
do not
I have a question.
use that business degree for the job they end up with.
So wait, when you go to college for a business degree, do you go for a certain thing, or is it?
That's the problem.
Do you expect to come
problem
out
is-
and be a boss or a manager?
Exactly.
Or
But that's the thing, they
think
wanna
they're
be a
gonna
boss.
Get that business degree that they're going to get a management position somewhere.
straight
But
up.
the problem is there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people trying to get business degrees to become go boss, and there are not enough boss jobs to go around.
Yeah.
There are chiefs and there are Indians.
And then
And
especially
there's not enough room for everyone to be a chief. Some
yeah.
people are going to have to be Indians.
Yeah, but it's especially like a person that started on the bottom. Eventually, after the years, it's going to be. They'd rather have that person as a boss than, okay, I graduated college. Here's my resume, business degree.
Right,
and
because
a
that's the
lot
thing. That's the thing about
This a
nowadays.
random person.
Like, it's better to
don't know
have.
how anything's flowing. Don't know how it's supposed to work.
We have a
don't
thing
know how
of having education versus experience.
Yes.
Companies are moving away from putting so much value on college. Let me give you an example. My grandpa was a heavy machine operator. You know, he worked at a rock and gravel plant where he they were harvesting
all that, yep.
rock and gravel. And they brought in at one point, he'd been there for a while, heavy machine operator. They brought in a college educated person to be the manager.
Can't do shit.
The guy was telling him to do shit that did not make any sense. He didn't know what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
These companies like that have moved away from that because their companies tanked. Production went down. Their stocks went down. Their money went down.
They don't know the flow.
So these companies that used to hire college-educated people straight out of college are realizing that is not the way to do it. That experience, people that have track records of production and productivity are the ones to go after.
So experience is
So all you kids out there thinking you're going to go get a business degree and become a boss somewhere, the only thing you're probably going to get a boss job is Starbucks or McDonald's. And
Or
even
Walmart,
those places
maybe.
are probably still going to
You'll be a department manager at Walmart.
At Walmart, there you go.
Making
Which
17,
is
maybe 18.
becoming- Which honestly, Walmart is becoming a joke. Having
Yeah.
worked there and seeing the way that company is
It's
going,
horrible.
if you have a business
horrible.
degree, you probably will become a good assistant
Man.
manager at Walmart.
How's studying history going to help you with a job?
Now there are subsections of business degrees that are a good idea, like business accounting.
Oh yeah,
There's
yeah,
a
yeah.
huge demand for accounting.
That's because
business.
nobody wants to do it.
Nobody wants to do it.
Yeah.
But there's a huge demand and it
Oh,
pays,
but
it pays
but
well, very well.
exactly because nobody wants to do it.
Nobody wants to do it.
But nowadays, you also get on-the-job training.
Exactly. And the thing is, again, they're not hiring
You
people
get-
off the street to be managers.
They look for somebody that's
And
ambitious.
you know what?
The
Want to do
companies
this.
that are places like Staples. What is happening to Staples across the country?
They're closing. No.
Closing.
Okay,
I thought
so
they went bankrupt.
let me tell you something.
Actually,
If you guys, if somebody is trying to go to school for something with a business degree, just make, and because we're not trying to get you to not go to that. If that's what you really want to do, just know that when you're going in it, you have to go with the mentality that you're gonna be the baddest motherfucker
There.
doing that shit.
You want to
so that
improve that company. You better study that company.
Yeah, and you gotta study that company
Yeah.
because learning all that stuff from the beginning is cool, but learning the company, how they do their stuff, and learning their product is another thing too.
Way different.
And apply what you learn from your school into that company.
100%.
Boom.
100%. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for today. This was like a 3-hour podcast.
I want Vegas.
Which is exactly what I
want
assumed and
Vegas.
hoped this would be. We'll be back at this. I'm kind of iffy about the weekday podcast that I've been doing. I haven't really been into it, so this might just end up becoming like a long Sunday podcast and scrap the weekday podcast. But we'll see. Definitely, we'll try to get this together next Sunday. Make sure to follow us here on Twitch, and if you follow down here, you can see our social medias. If you follow us on Twitter, follow us on for the contest we're doing. Follow us here on Twitch. Subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. We're doing 3 separate hat giveaways. Make sure to like, subscribe, share. At 100 followers for each one, we're doing 3 separate hat giveaways. Your choice of a hat from lids.com. Hope you all enjoyed, and remember to stay safe out there, and we're all in this together.
And David, thank you for having me on. I'd like to be on it
Yeah,
next time.
every Sunday, hopefully.
All right, hopefully.
All right, stay
Awesome.
safe,